the actual cup is about the size of your coffee cup, Steve.
Of which there's only one.
There's only one coffee cup. Yes, Steve, yes.
My apologies.
Everyone's packed inside here. I'm not sure what we're going to expect this afternoon as the two sets of players go into potential huddles. The MDF Premier League arch is disassembled as quickly as it possibly can be by the stage crew who come jogging to the side of the pitch. Every single ground has to have one of those. We need to get you one of those, Steve, as part of your football ground collection, a bit like your fourth officials board that we got from Bradford City. So if one of those in your garden, I think would look lovely, Steve.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure.
Would Mrs.
I feel
Brown
sorry for
have
those
it?
guys. They you know, hell of a job getting it on
Would
and off.
Mrs. Brown not countenance having that in the garden?
She wouldn't be impressed by that. She doesn't really like football at all, Phil, if I'm brutally honest. She doesn't even know where I am today.
Doesn't know where you are.
I just wave at her as I walk out the door and say hello when I get back in tonight. She doesn't really
care.
Yeah, no.
As long as there's money walking back in the door with you, that's anything that counts. I'm forever blowing bubbles booming around London Stadium. It's half-time at Kings Meadow as well. Chelsea leading by 2-0 against Arsenal in the WSL. That victory combined, is it right, Lucy, that and Man United failing to beat Man City would give the title to Chelsea this evening? Yeah,
I mean, no matter what, irrespective of that last game of the season, Chelsea would be confirmed as WSL title winners.
To be honest, they're not losing to Reading, so...
That's a good point. So here we go then, off and underway. Leeds United kicking from right to left as we look at it in this first half. Looping it out wide towards Luke Ayling down that right-hand side. West Ham with Fabianski in goal, Soufal, Zuma, Ogbonna and Emerson, Souček and Rice, Bowen, Paqueta, Fornals and Ings as their forward players. Robles in goal for Leeds United, Ayling, Christensen, Woba and Struijk, their back four, we believe. McKennie, Koch and Forshaw in midfield. Rodrigo, Harrison, Bamford, who missed a penalty last week that would have given 2 extra points, but then was treated abysmally on social media by some idiots as they break down the right-hand side with Luke Ayling again trying to get on the end of this. It's Bamford who dinks it into the penalty area. Rodrigo's trying to snaffle it. Harrison was there and it's swatted away up in the air with a big booming clearance from Declan Rice towards the halfway line, and Leeds United will try and field it on this left-hand touchline with Struijk. He heads it straight out of play on the halfway line for West Ham United throw. 0-0, early exchanges. It's Vladimir Soufal, the 30-year-old Czech international, who will take this throw-in. West Ham starting the day in 15th. And Leeds United starting the day in the bottom 3, but can move out of it with a victory and put Everton back in trouble. Everton on the last day of the season playing Bournemouth. West Ham United going to Leicester. Now they go forward looking for Bowen on the outskirts of the Leeds United penalty area. And then Jared Bowen scuttles it out of play. Leading assister this year for West Ham in the Premier League with 5. Second in the Premier League scoring stakes for West Ham, joint second with Mikel Antonio on 5, just behind Said Benrahma. Here's the throw in up the left-hand touchline for Leeds United. The bearded Paqueta heads it forward. Bamford, though, as the looping ball over the top is snaffled by Bamford, and he races into the penalty area. His third touch is poor, and he runs it over the byline. Not sure what he's appealing for there, because as he just tried to run away from the tracking Ogbonna, his third or fourth touch was too heavy and it pushed it over the whitewash for a goal kick to Lucas Fabianski.
Yeah, but he's looked quite bright and lively in the early exchanges, Bamford. He's got away down the right and now just moments ago away down this left. You're right, his third touch was way too heavy. He was trying to protect it on the left-hand side away from the pressure that was coming from Kurt Zuma, the West Ham defender. But I'm just looking at Leeds' setup. To me, we were told a 4-3-3, but I think Forshaw and Koch are going to do two sitting central midfield roles. So it's a very similar 4-2-3-1 setup for Leeds.
Soufal bursting down the right-hand side, finds Bowen, dances infield off that touchline, halfway inside the Leeds half of the pitch. Paqueta now with it, slipping it forward. Fornals is going to dig it out wide towards Soufal. Didn't have enough purchase on it. Cracked away by Harrison over the halfway line. He's battling with Zuma. It's going to be a big battle for Patrick Bamford up there, and then Zuma holds off off Adam Forshaw as he comes flying into his back. West Ham United cede possession temporarily, but have it back with the Czech international, who finds his compatriot Soufal to Souček, and down the left-hand side an opportunity for Emerson to try and break for the Hammers, sliding it back into the feet of his skipper Declan Rice. Where will he be next season, here or somewhere else? Souček to the right-hand side of the centre circle. 3 and a bit minutes gone at the opening of this Premier League encounter on BBC Radio London. Gabby Wasden continuing on 94.9 FM, and David Moyes already out to the edge of his technical area, standing right on the point on the right-hand side of it as he tries to put his hands behind his back. He clasps them behind him. No instructions being handed out or barked out at the moment, just having a withering look, and he sees his team give away possession, and very quickly over the top for Bamford to chase. He's got some support with Rodrigo attacking the far post towards Rodrigo. His first touch off his left boot turns it straight into the path of Lucas Fabianski. Bamford did well. We can see already what Sam Allardyce wants. In behind the West Ham United defence.
Yeah, he didn't even look short, did he? And I know that's a factor of Sam Allardyce's teams. The front man must extend the back line, and Bamford's done that 3 times already now in these opening exchanges. We're only 4 minutes in. They've got a nice, tidy setup bit out of possession, Leeds. They go into almost like a 4-5-1, leaving Bamford high up. But if they get the ball on transition, his job is to turn those 2 centre-backs round in Zuma and Ogbonna. And he's just done that there. The ball across actually was an excellent cross in behind the back line. And Rodrigo coming in around the back post, first time shot. By taking a touch, you give the defender a chance to get across. It was heavy anyway and went to Fabianski, but surely that was a first-time effort from Rodrigo coming in round the back.
On the left-hand side, it's West Ham United with Emerson. Here is Danny Ings straying forward, rolls it back to Paqueta, driving towards the edge of the Leeds United penalty area. Couldn't quite find Bowen. Leeds come away with it down the left-hand flank again. It's going to be a drop of the shoulder and a surge forward from Jack Harrison. Poked clear by Soufal, mopped up by Harrison on the halfway line, and the white-shirted Leeds United again are forced back into their back line, and Pascal Struijk looks to slide it into midfield this time, and it's skimmed back by Koch all the way to his goalkeeper, Joel Robles, with Ilyan Meslier dropped by Sam Allardyce, cheering on his teammates on the bench. But as a goalkeeper, it feels harsh, doesn't it? It feels hard. As Bamford takes it away from Ogbonna, let it bounce. Here's Bamford into the penalty area again, cushions it back to that 18-yard box. Leeds United try and win it off Declan Rice, who just, with great composure, slides it away from Weston McKennie. And Rice has possession again, but again dawdling on the ball. Ogbonna waiting for it to bounce. Bamford looks lively.
Yeah.
Looks like he's had a bit of a rocket to give him some encouragement to play.
Yeah, it was an awkward one for Ogbonna, so I'm not criticising him as a defender. It wouldn't come down quick enough, and Bamford just got his leg above Ogbonna's and flicked it forward. So it was an awkward one for him. But yeah, I agree. Bamford's looked really bright and lively. McKenna's going to be a key, I think, in terms of linking up, because he can be quite isolated, Bamford. As you see him drop into that defensive shape, he's a lone figure up front, and they've got to get people supporting quickly. I think Forshaw and McKennie are going to be the 2 to go up quickly to support him.
Koch again, slides it down the right-hand side for Ayling. Here's his cross, blocked by the shaven-headed Italian international Angelo Ogbonna. Booms out of play. He's been runner-up in Hammer of the Year a couple of times in the past. Declan Rice receiving the Hammer of the Year award before kick-off here this afternoon. Very wise to do awards before games. We were discussing about how Spurs did theirs after the match yesterday, Steve, which was should we say, a poor decision.
Yeah, Millwall did the same.
Yeah.
You know, after losing to Middlesbrough and not making the playoffs, and it was just flat.
Here comes the throw-in from Weston McKennie, headed away by West Ham inside their penalty area. Paqueta skies his clearance again. It'll drop down with a little bit of snow on it and plucked out of the air by Jack Harrison with great aplomb off that left boot of his. He rolls it back to the former Brentford man, Adam Forshaw. 10 years ago today, he was part of a Brentford side that lost in a playoff final to Yeovil, and a snapshot on the edge of the penalty area from Harrison tests Fabianski, who makes a good save.
Yeah, but the reason he can get that shot away is they load the box. Leeds, they had 4 players in the line waiting for it. Harrison dropped a little bit deeper on the penalty area. It came to him, he got the volley away. It was too close to Fabianski. He made a good save down.
Struijk down the left-hand side again, guides it in towards the 6-yard box. And Leeds United have started the better. 7.5 minutes played, yet another opportunity. This time it wasn't latched onto, was it, by Rodrigo, but Harrison and Stroik that time combining, and a clever ball in towards a corridor of uncertainty for West Ham United's defenders.
Yeah, we didn't expect anything less really than this kind of a start from the away side. High tempo, lots of bodies in the opposition half, making it difficult for them to play. When they're out of possession, they drop into a nice compact 4 and a 5, leaving Bamford isolated. But they look good in transition. You know, from a defensive shape, it's hard to conjure up attacks. West Ham breaking down the right.
Yeah, Soufel driving down the right-hand side into Paqueta, edge of the D. Paqueta tries to take a shot. Cork was back there to block it away. Kept in, though, by Fornals on the left-hand side of the West Ham United attack. Emerson's on that far flank from us. That's their left. Back it comes infield this time to Paqueta. Behind him, he's got Declan Rice calling for it. 35, 40 yards from goal, straight forward. David Rice telling his team to get forward. He wafts his right hand somewhat as Declan Rice receives on the right hand side, being closed down by Koch. He's watching him all the way, gets it again. Good football this time from Ings, and as he tries to just dribble it forward towards Danny Ings, enough of a block away gives Leeds United temporary possession, but West Ham have it back with Soufal halfway inside the opposition half of the pitch. And here's Angelo Ogbono on the halfway line. Really open start to this opening 9 minutes, Steve. It's 0-0 West Ham against Leeds.
Yeah, it was actually a good move from West Ham. Lovely little link up between Ings and Rice, and Bowen made a wonderful run off the shoulder in behind, and it was just intercepted. Rice tried to play him in. If it had got through, it would have been an opportunity. Very good block in the end, but Paqueta had a chance moments before. Excellent block from Koch on the edge of the box.
4 clean sheets in the last 13 for West Ham United. Leeds have scored and conceded in each of their last 11, as here come West Ham again. Bowen drifts away from Forshaw down the right hand side, keeps it in as he whips it across. It's missed by 2 players in the shape of Fornals, and prior to that Soucek, and on the left hand side Leeds United carried away, but good work from Bowen. And there were 2 Hammers players who could have had a nibble at that.
Yeah, just a missed kick, an air shot. Interesting that Bamford's just made the same run again against Zuma and Ogbono, not in this instance, just a fraction before, 30 seconds ago, and McKennie didn't play him in, and he was off the shoulder again. Yeah. And if you're Zuma and Ogbono, as soon as the transition comes and it falls to a Leeds player, just drop 5 yards. You know, they've got caught ball watching again, and it's 4 times in his first 10 minutes he's spun off the shoulder. You should be used to it by now.
Here's Bamford, blue-booted, drops a little bit deeper, rolls it out wide to Harrison, left-hand side, level with the edge of the West Ham United penalty area, cushions it back this time into the boots of Pascal Struck. Now it's going to be Forshaw, delivers, swirling ball out wide to Ayling, first time crossfar post, gathered by Lucas Fabianski, as it was just nicely side-footed, volleyed really by Luke Ayling into the 6-yard box. Fabianski made a really good take, the 38-year-old Polish goalkeeper. 0-0.
Yeah, I think they could actually get Ayling in quite a lot down that right-hand side. Having looked at West Ham out of possession, Fornals tucked right inside on a narrow channel to protect the centre of the pitch, and if Ayling wants to push up a little bit higher and wider when Leeds have got good possession, he will get in like he just did. It was a wonderful crossfield ball from Forshaw, and again an excellent technical side foot volley from Ayling, but I'm going to give credit to Ogbono for the defending at the post. Checked out the man he was up against, and the ball went through to Fabianski. I
think Luke Ayling played for Yeovil in that playoff final against Adam Forshaw's Brentford on that day at Wembley 10 years ago today, which saw, well, look what's happened to the 2 teams since then, Steve. I think maybe that was a good in the end. Didn't really be detrimental to Brentford, but Yeovil are now in the 6th tier of English football, aren't they?
Yeah, with all due respect, they're just not going to get the funding or the finances through crowds that, you know, Brentford have managed to do. You still got, I mean, it's still a wonderful job, not taking anything away, but there's you know, feel sorry for Yeovil, because I think one stage they were flying under Gary Johnson, weren't they?
Weston McKennie down that right-hand side for Ayling again. 12 yards up from the byline, defended by West Ham United, and then Fornals sticks out the leg as Ayling was just trying to cushion it back to Weston McKennie, on loan, of course, from Italian football, and he will take a throw-in on that far touchline. It came off Fornals. He was on a stretch, difficult to control, level with the edge of the West Ham penalty area, throwing for Leeds on their right.
Yeah, but again, he was goal side of Fornals, so there's a little 2v1 over there, isn't there, against Emerson. You know, Fornals not particularly tracking Ayling at this point.
Here comes the throw in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Heads go up. Declan Rice gets it clear. Ayling brings it under control, tries to cushion it out wide to McKennie on the right-hand touchline. West Ham, though, have dealt with it pretty effectively. Then it's mopped up at the back with the only player back, Rasmus Christensen, as Bamford heads it into the 18-yard box. There's Zuma trying to roll it back or cushion it back or control it back to his goalkeeper. He's then hauled down by Bamford. former Nottingham Forest player, is a little bit askance as why that was given as a free kick, but it's given West Ham United the chance to clear their lines. 0-0, BBC Radio London Sport, DAB Digital Radio, and Mark Warburton and David Moyes and Kevin Nolan looking at the screen in deep conversation on the sidelines. Steve Brown.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to discuss in terms of what Leeds are doing. It won't be the same type of Leeds performance that they were seeing perhaps, you know, during the week in weeks gone past. You know, Sam Allardyce does have a certain way of playing. Sometimes I think it's cruel what people say about his sides. There's a little bit more to it than what people want to admit. But quite honestly, if they were expecting anything less than this kind of start, West Ham, I'd be surprised. You know, they need to win. It's got to be high tempo. They've got to try and score a couple of goals. So they're always going to try and turn West Ham around early and play in West Ham's half.
It's a throw into Leeds. So Trevor Brooking, guest on the show on Thursday night ahead of the semi-final. He's in the stands here. Seen Eddie Gray is here as well.
Yep, I bumped into Mervyn Day.
Mervyn Day.
Former coach of mine, lovely man, working for Rangers. Not Queen's Park, the Rangers.
Yeah, well, you know.
Just so there's no confusion.
Thank you. Well, they've had the same manager this year, haven't they?
Yes, they have, yes.
As it's Souček in the Leeds penalty area, right-hand side, just forced outwards, and then he plays it behind Jared Bowen and gives it straight to Weston McKennie. He's going to carry it towards the halfway line now, and he's allowed to dribble it infield, drops the shoulder. Harrison has to check his run. He's still got it, Weston McKennie. Then he pokes it out wide towards Harrison, delivers first time left-footed over the top of McKennie. And then Leeds United try and win it back, but Souček's too strong. And here's Bowen now. Bowen runs into traffic. Ayling catches him. Bowen goes down injured. No foul. Just a collision, so says the referee, Peter Banks. Jared Bowen rubbing the top of his knee after just a bash between the pair of them. A throw into Leeds on the right-hand side. Yeah,
and I'm just looking at Jack Harrison, the left-sider for Leeds United. He's been asked to do a hell of a job, Phil. He has to get in front of his full-back strike. And then on transition, when they play the ball forward, he has to make these 50, 60-yard lung-busting runs, and he's absolutely spent already. You know, and he, in between these runs, he's got to have 30 seconds, a minute to recover.
It was just a collision after the ball had gone, actually, and as he planted his foot, he sort of jarred it slightly, Jared Bowen, but it was the fact they bashed into each other. It's just a knee on knee, which is a bit sharp and painful, Steve, but he should be able to run it off.
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of knocks, things that we look at here and we see on replays, and they look innocuous, but actually when you're out there, there's things that cause you a great deal of pain that we probably don't see. You know, and anything where there's a collision, bone on bone, hard, you know, it's painful without any shadow of a doubt. But normally they die down pretty quickly.
Just 2 away wins this season for Leeds United. Only Forest have picked up less wins and less points on their travels than the side from West Yorkshire, as Harrison burst down the left-hand side. Interestingly, or bizarrely, they are the only team to win at Anfield in the Premier League, Steve. And Wolves was the other away win for Leeds United, but they are pressing West Ham deep inside their own territory, and then Soufal cracks it against the midriff, shall we say, of Thomas Souček, and it's gone out of play for a Leeds throw, level with the edge of the West Ham penalty area again. Yeah,
and again, I'll reiterate, it'll be a different performance this time around, though. From you know, and I know it's only going to be 2 or 3 games under Sam, but the way they were playing, you know, for all those away games, completely different than we see today.
Weston McKennie will take another long throw into the 6-yard box. Oh, what a strike from Harrison. Leeds United take the lead, all from a throw, and absolutely battered in by Rodrigo, who lanced onto it from 12 yards out, and that was unstoppable. Fabianski had no chance whatsoever. There was a long throw a couple of minutes ago which caused consternation. That one certainly did, and Rodrigo benefited. It's Leeds United who lead. West Ham 0, Leeds 1.
Yeah, saw something similar yesterday in terms of defending set pieces. You've got to take charge. It doesn't matter who, but someone's got to be responsible. As soon as that ball leaves the quadrant for a corner or the arms of the thrower, you've got to leave your space and try and win it if you anticipate it's going to fall in your area. West Ham guilty of not being strong enough aerially as that ball comes in, but you've got to give an enormous amount of credit to Rodrigo for keeping his eye on that. It came over a couple of players, dropped into his path, and he connected left foot first time from about the penalty spot and guided it past Fabianski high into the right-hand corner. He had absolutely no chance. Leeds lead 1-0.
Well, it's the start they wanted, and West Ham United not the one that they wanted. But Leeds have started better, Steve. They've looked more dangerous, much more dangerous and much more clinical. Bamford pushed over by Kurt Zouma, free kick. Lucy, there's been some interesting activity in the stand.
There has. West Ham legend, as he's known, as we've come to know him, Knowlesy, who was taken social media by storm after his actions out in AZ Alkmaar, where he put on a one-man stand basically to protect the West Ham fans and the players' families. He apparently got a standing ovation from the supporters around him where he sits. They
needed to defend that throw-in like he defended
the steps.
The steps, and they would be 0-0. Quite phenomenal, actually. Because I'm not sure I want to be standing there.
That was quite extraordinary. But
I've never seen anything like it.
He didn't ever let the high ground go. He kept the high ground, Steve. So you know that's from a defensive position. He had to.
And I actually agree. You know, whatever West Ham can do, get him over to that final.
Well, it was.
Pat him on the back.
Just unbelievable scenes, wasn't it? So, I mean, really damaging in many respects. RZ have made their statements and how disappointed they are by what happened, and no doubt there will be further repercussions. What repercussions will come from West Ham United trailing here after 19 minutes against Leeds United? Rodrigo with the goal after a long throw from Weston McKennie from the left-hand side. Soufal trying to respond on the right-hand side. He teases in a cross, awkward for Christensen, who managed to get behind it and steer it out of play for a corner kick to West Ham, first of the game on the left.
Yeah, and they've been a little bit shy, haven't they, in terms of what they've created, West Ham. They've had a couple of forays in wide areas and a cross that was miskicked earlier. Well, an air shot for sure, but it's too few and far between for West Ham in these first 20 minutes, and credit has to go to Leeds for that, but they're starting to get back on the front foot.
Jared Bowen will take the corner, puts his right hand up in the air, in towards the near post, flapped away by Robles, and Leeds United are going to be able to clear their lines with Bamford, who gives this a mighty thump up the touchline and out of play for a throw in at West Ham, which will be quickly taken by Vladimir Soufal.
That was a great delivery, actually. He put the keeper under all kinds of pressure, Robles, and he got something on it, which was important.
Here comes another throw from Soufal again, flicked into the 6-yard box. Ings was scampering after it, just bounced beyond him.
But only Ings.
Yeah.
Everybody else, bizarrely, edge of the box. Can't understand that. Long throwing comes in, it's a really good flick on, and there's only Ings advanced of that flick on. Everybody else in safety positions on the edge of the box for the ball that comes out. You can afford to gamble another couple.
Here come Leeds United again, looking for Weston McKennie. Bamford, not quite sure what he was doing there, but somehow he managed to get it to Jack Harrison, who has got Luke Ayling barking for it on the right-hand side. It's skipped out wide to him by Koch. He's up against Emerson. Delivers a cross into the near post, gathered by Fabianski.
Yeah, he's going to get in all day. Fornals, they're asking Fornals to tuck in like 25 yards from the outside line, and that leaves that right-hand channel open for Ayling all day long. So Emerson's got his hands full. Rodrigo tucks inside Emerson, so he has to offer the cover to Ogbonna, which leaves that right-hand channel severely exposed. And you either tell Fornals to track, which makes you very defensive, or you've got to accept that Emerson's got to get out to that ball when it switches to Ayling. But either way, he's got his hands full.
Lucy,
yeah, we've got our eyes on events at Kings Meadow, and Katie McCabe has just missed a penalty to miss Arsenal's opportunity to narrow the deficit. So still Chelsea 2, Arsenal 0.
Bamford, a long ball forward to him again, gets cracked on the back of the head as he goes to ground. Rolls around somewhat. Referee Peter Banks has awarded a free kick. Sam Allardyce is out there in shirt sleeves. He's got an energy drink, I think, in his hand. Probably some chewing gum in his mouth, Steve, and his team have got a free kick. I think he knows. You look at that record, yeah, sort of as he was lying on the ground, Soufal went for the ball. He did crack Patrick Bamford on the back of the head. I don't think there was any intention in that, but a free kick had been awarded already for the nudge on Bamford. But Sam Allardyce will look at it, and they've conceded 150 top-flight goals in the last 2 seasons, last season and this season combined. No one else in the big 5 European leagues have conceded that many goals, so he will know it's actually a throw-in, but he will know that they need maybe more than 1 goal.
I'm going to put that down to the style of play a little bit as well. I think they're a bit cavalier at times,
especially under the previous manager. Here comes, he puts a bit of spin on this, doesn't he, Weston McKennie with the throw. Headed away, though, by West Ham. The USA international, though, has won it back on the left-hand side, takes it away from Paqueta, battling for it, and then tries to swirl it forward, looking for Jack Harrison, easily dealt with that time by Soufal, and Souček rolls it back out wide to his compatriot on that right-hand side, who drives it forward. 1 bounce, 2 bounce, and the Leeds goalkeeper's out of his 18-yard box and has to side-foot it out of play for a West Ham United throw. So whilst that forward ball may have looked a little bit aimless, it's actually, percentage-wise, has gained possession for West Ham, level with the edge of the Leeds United penalty area.
Yeah, the key to it is the pressure. Once it goes in behind the defence, is that someone has to pressurise the goalkeeper, Robles, otherwise he just turns around and goes back in his box. They got that pressure on. Wasn't the great, I thought he could have put that down the channel a bit more. Perhaps that was on his weaker side, but I wouldn't want to see a throw-in given against me in that area from the position he was clearing from.
Fornal slides it into midfield. Declan Rice, shoot goes the cry. He's going to have a go, Declan Rice, and the hammer of the year listed over the top of the bar, and that'll be a goal kick to Leeds. 24 played, West Ham United 0, Leeds United 1. Leading scorer of the season, Rodrigo, with his 15th of the season.
Yeah, and Souček had made a decent run from that midfield area he occupies into the penalty box, so the choice was to have the strike or try and find him or Ings. But it just opened up enough for him, I think, to justify that strike. He wasn't closed down particularly quickly, Declan Rice, and it was on his favoured side. That left-hand side of the goal was very inviting, but he just got his targets a little bit wrong, a bit high and wide.
Emerson was on the ground, and the ball was sort of kicked against his sort of rib area by Luke Ayling, so Emerson just needed to take a moment to get a breath. The Sao Paulo-born former Chelsea player. 27th start of the season for Emerson. Robles with a lengthy period of time before taking a goal kick. Headed forward by Emerson. It's going to bounce out of play for a Leeds United throw on the right-hand side, which Luke Ayling will take. Arsenal trainee, the Lambeth-born Luke Ayling. 238th start now for Leeds. He will be, if he starts next week, just 1 game shy of 250 appearances for the West Yorkshire side. Luke Ayling, who scored last week in that 2-2 draw with Newcastle United. Big Sam's having a bit of a giggle on the sidelines there, Lucy. I don't know what that was about.
He had a bit of an exchange with the 4th official, and yeah, he's having a wonderful time laughing alongside Carl Robinson. It's Andy Madley who he was having a jovial giggle with, but he will be enjoying what he's seen so far, I suppose.
Yes. Well, he sat back down as Sam Allardyce. His team are leading. David Moyes hasn't sat down at all, Steve, at this moment in time. And I see what you mean about the fish and chip smell. As here's Bowen down that right-hand flank again for West Ham United, and he forces Stroke to concede another corner kick to the Hammers, who trail by a goal to 0 on this right-hand side.
And it's the 2 right-hand sides for me, for both sides, that look a little bit stronger. West Ham look stronger down their right, and I think Leeds look stronger down their right at this moment in time.
Yeah.
And Bowen with a decent run off the shoulder, a strike, and he didn't quite get the flight of the ball.
Here comes the corner kick into the near post. Bamford was tracking back where's Souček, who was trying to get on the end of it, and so Bamford has to guide it out of play for another corner kick.
Yeah, it's a slight concern for me, Leeds, from set pieces. They don't look too sure of themselves.
Here comes another one from Bowen. It's all over the place, cleared away, scrambled as far as Declan Rice. He cracks one goalwards. Brave block from Ayling this time, who came running out to him and concedes another corner kick. All on this right-hand side, all from Jarrod Bowen, all right underneath the crossbar.
Yeah, but that's a good block from Ayling. He's got out nice and sharp. He's got to the angle that Rice, you know he's going to shoot that side.
This time it's towards the far post. They've worked it in towards Paqueta. Souček with a header. It's going to be scooped in by Souček. Is it not quite? And he goes to ground, and the goalkeeper, Joel Robles, is lying inside the 6-yard box, having made that block. He's been checked on by his teammates. He's probably all right, Steve.
Yeah, I'd say he's fine. But again, it's a well-worked set piece, designed for someone to peel off the back to then set somebody who comes out of the 6-yard box to about 10 yards out. But Souček just needs to make some kind of contact on this. Well, he does actually. He puts it goal bound. I'm going to give. See, I want to say Robles, but you're saying Ruble. You've put a little accent on it.
Have I?
Yeah.
Did I say Ruble that time?
Ruble.
Oh.
Yeah, and he does well, the goalkeeper, because he gets out and narrows down the angle, and there's not a lot of distance between him and Souček, which allows him to make the save.
Well, he gets the clearance. He's been favoured in goal in the last couple of weeks as West Ham United break forward again. This time it's Danny Ings being stretched across to that left-hand side by Woba, who tracks with him. And then dinked into midfield, just in front of the centre circle is Paqueta for the home team, who trail by a goal to nil. We've played 28 minutes. They've got an overlap down the left if they need it. Here's a chance to ping in the ball, possibly to the 6-yard box, but whipped away from Emerson's cross and had a play on that far touchline off the boots of Koch for a throw into the Hammers.
Yeah, but by far and away their best period of the match.
Yeah.
Causing Leeds a lot of unrest at the moment, particularly from the set pieces. But suddenly they're controlling possession as well. And the majority of this game has been played in the Leeds half now.
Declan Rice picks up, slides it in towards Bowen. Just closed down pretty quickly there by Struijk. And now it's going to be Leeds United again who get crowded out. West Ham quick to the ball this time, winning the 50-50s. Out on the left-hand side, Fornals calls for it. Step over from Emerson instead before sliding it forward towards the Spaniard. And then diving in there, Koch has taken it away from Souček. And a loud cheer, I think, from both sets of fans, because it's just a physical 50-50 battle, which squirts off Koch and out of play for a throw-in on the far touchline.
Yeah, but you know Leeds are going to have to come with that kind of game today. They've got to block everything, they've got to be fierce and competitive, and they can't afford to do what West Ham did actually at a set piece and switch off and allow a little ball to drop down into the path of an opponent. So, you know, we are going to see those little challenges, and every now and again they're going to be a little bit mistimed, and you're going to give free kicks away, but they're going to be at it right until the death to try and get this one over the line.
3 years, Sam Allardyce. 4 years at West Ham, should I say. Got the team promoted in a playoff final in 2012 when Chelsea were winning the Champions League on the same day, Steve, and now he's trying to...
They've beaten the final, can't we?
Who? West Ham?
Yeah.
They beat Blackpool.
Ah, that one. Yep. Okay. Yeah, Blackpool had a good year. That was under Ian Holloway, no?
Yeah. Is that right? I'm trying to think now.
All right.
Here come West Ham United again with Paqueta. On the left-hand side, it's just been angled into the run of Emerson up from left-back. Paqueta again, slide rule pass, looking for Danny Ings on the edge of the Leeds United penalty area. Fornals has dropped central. Fornals with a drop of the shoulder, surging to the penalty area, smuggled away by a combination of challenges, including Woba, and it's just hacked towards the halfway line, but it's going to come back with interest, isn't it? Because there was no one up there for Leeds to try and challenge. So the Hammers fans try and encourage their team and say, look, you've now got it, you've now got the pressure, you've got them hemmed in, let's see if you can take that to your advantage. As West Ham try and break with Soufal. Souček though instead turns back towards Jarrod Bowen. He receives it into his feet and curling it round the corner to Danny Ings, who's making a run inside the penalty area. It's Bowen instead, loops it far post, Declan Rice restores parity at London Stadium. Jarrod Bowen, the creator, and Declan Rice, the hammer of the year, gives West Ham United their first goal of the afternoon. It's West Ham 1, Leeds United 1.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful move, and we did sort of say that they look a lot stronger down this right-hand side, West Ham, and Bowen's been causing Strike a few issues with his pace, and he got in behind. And it's a lovely little delivery, and it's great to see Rice breaking into the box. We talk about Souček breaking into the box, but it's been brilliant to see Rice breaking into the box and then adding the finish. But Leeds were and have been for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes struggling behind the ball. They're getting caught between trying to press midfield players and protecting their back line, and they've not quite got it right in the last 4 or 5 minutes, and they've been exposed in between the lines. But it's a wonderful little passing move from West Ham into midfield from Bowen. He carries on his run, receives the ball back and just lofts it to the far post for Rice to volley down into the ground and pass Robles for 1-1. It's been coming, in all fairness, for the last 4, 5, 6 minutes. They've been on top, and Leeds got camped in their own half, and we're getting deeper and deeper and deeper.
Meantime, Patrick Bamford has just been down receiving treatment while the celebrations were taking place. It's allowed David Moyes to get some instruction out to his team. Declan Rice is having a chat with him at this moment in time. Sam Allardyce is going to make a change, I think, Luce.
Yeah, and he knew he had a problem, Phil, because just before the goal, I saw the Leeds kind of medical staff were alongside Sam Allardyce, and Patrick Bamford had obviously signalled to them, I've got a bit of an issue here, but they couldn't make a change. He didn't go down. Obviously, West Ham go and score. Would he have tracked back? Would he have made a difference in the box? You don't know. But yeah, I think I've seen Willy Gnonto get stripped, but it looks as if, no, yes, Andy Madley now is preparing his fourth officials board. So we are going to see that change, it looks like. And I mean, he's had a career ruined by injury, hasn't he, Patrick Bamford, of late. And that's desperately sorry for him if he's going to have to be forced to come off again.
Well, the West Ham United fans in good voice, and we are seeing this change being made, Steve, as Lucy pointed out. So Wilfried Gnonto comes on to replace Patrick Bamford. Just seeing, was it his hamstring he was feeling? Not quite sure, but he has had a really disrupted recent career. The Grantham-born striker, 30 appearances this season, but 12 of them off the bench. And he goes straight down the tunnel, and he looks a bit disconsolate, so Wilfried Gnonto is on.
Yeah, and there's nothing worse than being injured, and sometimes when you have these long-term injuries or an injury-disrupted season, other things break down as you try. But he was bright and lively in that first 15-20 minutes. He was extending the back line, making things very uncomfortable for the two West Ham centre-halves. But I agree, I think that's a muscular injury. I think it's a hamstring at the back, potentially, which makes for a difficult summer for Patrick Bamford, because there's depending on the type of strain, you could be in every day.
Well, it also, you know, if it is something like a hamstring, you'd say that's probably it for next week as well. I mean, you know, big game against Spurs, that's gone, isn't it? If
it's a tear, you know, depending on the grade, you could be out 6-8 weeks. You could be in all summer, you know, or you'll get some time off.
1-1. Here come West Ham United from a Weston McKennie throw-in, picked up by Paqueta, who surges forward, and they've got a chance with Fornals! Puts it wide.
Yeah, couple of things. Brilliant run from Paqueta. He knew how far to take it, and the weight of pass in front of Fornals was exceptional. He didn't have to break stride. He ran onto that ball, but there was really good pressure from Forshaw, I think it was, coming across. It was either Forshaw or Woba. Couldn't quite see, but there was enough pressure. It's actually Christensen. It's Christensen coming across on the cover to make the block, and it's a wonderful attempt to just put Fornals off, and he slices it wide.
Goal kick, which will be taken by Leeds United. That goal has brought Sam Allardyce to the edge of the coaching box, the huge ones here at London Stadium. David Moyes not really, apart from a couple of minutes, left his perch as Danny Ings breaks down the right-hand side of the West Ham United attack, just outside the Leeds penalty area now. He's got an overlapping run from Soufal, uses it to guide it infield, round the corner to Soufal, this time from Paqueta. Up in the air it goes, drops onto the chest of Soufal, who loops it forward, but Others there is able to gather it for Leeds United, Steve, and trying to calm things down. We've got 9 minutes to go plus added time before the break. It's West Ham 1, Leeds United 1.
Yeah, and he's doing the right thing, the Leeds keeper. In fact, I wait for my line to get up. They've dropped to receive, and you know, Sam Allardyce will correct that at half-time. You do one or the other. You know, if your Leeds, in terms of the pressure they've been under in the last 10 minutes, the right thing is to get the back line up to halfway line, take a long goal kick and try and play in the opposition half for a bit, because they have been camped. But Danny Ings kind of ruined that last attack for West Ham. The momentum was there. Soufal made a great overlap as a fullback, should have pushed him in. Once he didn't, that attack lost momentum and it petered out. But yeah, I think Leeds need to get the balance a bit better of getting more players in the opposition half to try and have a better chance of retaining possession.
Great skill from Declan Rice, pirouettes on the ball, does a 360 and gets away from Gnonto, and wins a throw-in on the far touchline. The fans love that inside here. Rodrigo's gone central for Leeds, by the way. He's a slightly different physical player to Patrick Bamford, isn't he, Rodrigo? And Gnonto's gone off onto the right, the substitute, with Bamford going off injured in this first half. One apiece. West Ham against Leeds on BBC Radio London Sport and DAB on a Sunday afternoon, delivered by Forshaw towards the left-hand side and Pascal Struijk. has a runner in front of him, slides it towards Weston McKennie, dabs it out to that left-hand touchline, and Jack Harrison, he's up against Soufal again, tries to take him one way then the other, tries to create the opportunity to curve in across. He can't do so. West Ham have dealt with that pretty effectively, and now Forshaw whips in across towards the far post, headed away by Ogbonna. Back it comes though to Wilfried Gnonto, and is muscled off the ball by Declan Rice, the scorer of the West Ham United goal. He finds Ogbonna, Rodrigo puts him under pressure, the Italian hooks it towards the halfway line, Christensen underneath it for Leeds United, flaxen-haired defender, and now it's going to be won by Forshaw on the halfway line, bobbles away from him. Leeds trying to press a little bit higher now, Steve.
Yeah, they're trying to get, as we said, trying to get players, more players in the opposition half to be able to put this press on, which means they might have to play a little bit more direct. The problem is they've just had a wonderful move down this left-hand side, delivered the ball into the box. They've just got no physical presence inside that penalty area, so Koch is having to make these runs from midfield like Souček does for West Ham to offer any kind of physicality in the opposition penalty area, because in all truth, McKennie isn't physical, Rodrigo's not physical, Harrison's not physical, and the substitute Gnonto isn't physical either. So it's difficult. You're going to have to be so precise with those crosses to get anything from them.
Here's Struijk, should I say, on the left-hand side. Harrison ahead of him. He drifts in field, though, instead does Pascal Struijk, Belgium. 75th start for Leeds United today. Ayling's on that right-hand flank, dropping at the shoulder, just shears it away from Pablo Fornals, rolls it into midfield, round the corner again it comes, with Koch trying to make a surge inside that 18-yard box, defended by West Ham United. He has it again, he dinks it into the 18-yard box, headed down by Weston McKennie. West Ham can't get it away at the moment, and then Jack Harrison tries to spin around for Soufal, finds Struijk, Harrison just behind him, rolls his studs on the ball, dinks out across far post. Ayling will attack it, cushions it back, Gnonto can't get it away from Fornals, who back heels it then to Emerson, and Declan Rice strides forward towards the halfway line for West Ham United, and then he just pokes it to the overlapping Emerson, and that's good counter-attacking play for West Ham United. In towards the edge of the Leeds penalty area, round the corner again, and a shot this time blocked by Robles out of play. Lovely sweeping forward movement from West Ham, ending with the effort from Emerson, and it'll be smuggled out of play for a corner kick.
Yeah, I mean, that's counter-attacking football in a nutshell, isn't it? Excellent defending from Fornals in his own penalty area. It looked like for one moment Ayling was going to feed the ball to Gnonto, and Fornals just dipped in front, nicked it off him in a very clever back heel, which sprung the counter-attack, and within 6 seconds you've got to save from Robles for the corner.
Scored the goal in the Netherlands, which secured the result. It's Fornals. This time he takes the corner kick to be headed away by Rodrigo. He'll get another opportunity to run it clear, and he asks a lot of Jack Harrison on the halfway line, and back all the way comes Vladimir Soufal to guide it to his goalkeeper, Lucas Fabianski, with very bright orange gloves and boots. Steve,
they are particularly bright. Yeah,
you won't miss him, will you? I mean, he could direct air traffic with
and
those.
They look a little bit like the old Kenny Everett foam gloves, don't they? They look as...
It's one for the teenagers, Steve.
Yeah, they won't remember that, but I do.
Well, that's all that counts, isn't it?
Look at Lucy pretending she doesn't know.
Not a clue what you're talking
stop
about.
it.
Kenny who? Here is Woba, who wrestles possession back for Leeds away from Jared Bowen.
I can't believe I'm that old. I just can't believe it. I don't feel it.
Well, that's what's important, Steve.
Oh dear.
Isn't it, really?
It's all, yeah, I need a minute.
Is it? Well, when you do your stats, you do your preparation, there is some very, very depressing things that crop up, Steve. When you see professional footballers and their birthdays or their dates of birth are in 2007, Steve.
Yeah.
Here on the left-hand side comes Struijk into the feet of Koch, who digs it out wide towards the right-hand touchline, where Leeds United are attacking again. Cross in towards Rodrigo, well headed away by Angelo Ogbonna, but that's maybe the sort of exemplifying the point you were making about the physical presence in that 18-yard box now with no Bamford.
Yeah, the only chance they've got is Robin Koch making those deep runs, but he can only do it so many times. But every time the ball goes wide, he's been asked to make these 20-30-yard runs into the centre of the penalty area. Because let's be honest with you, Zuma and Ogbonna are going to swallow up those crosses if it's to Rodrigo, Harris, you know, or
Ayling on the right-hand side again, digs out a cross, headed away by Zuma, edge of the West Ham penalty area, one back, and then Ogbonna with a very powerful, brave header, because I think there was the preparation for an overhead there, which came to naught from Harrison, should I say. And here is Christensen again. Scored last week against Newcastle, 2-2, the final scoreline. In an extraordinary game of penalties. There are 3 penalties in that game, Steve. Ayling and Christensen were the goal scorers in the end for Leeds United, who know that a draw does not take them out of the bottom 3. So it then leaves relegation in someone else's hands. And Leeds, even with a win against Spurs, wouldn't necessarily be safe, because Everton could beat Bournemouth. It's going to be one of, you think now, one of the 2 most northern-sounding managers who aren't from the north who are going to go down, because neither Sean Dyche or Sam Allardyce are actually from up north, Steve.
No, they're not. But one of the big ones is going to go, which we didn't anticipate, if I'm honest.
Here come Leeds again. It'll be whipped towards the far post. This time Soufal chests it back to Lucas Fabianski, makes a flying gather to prevent it from going out of play for a corner kick from that chest from the Czech international, who now gallops over the halfway line into Leeds territory and then gives it away, but straight off Pascal Struijk and out of play.
He's just taken a boot in the face off Forshaw as well. Completely unintentional, but it's just clocked him right in the jaw. But excellent composure actually from the fullback. He's defended in the right position, got himself set so his opponent can't get anything on that cross. And wonderful composure and technique to just chest it to Fabianski, and he didn't rest on his laurels either. Spun out, got the return off of Fabianski and broke down the right-hand side.
It's a throw-in to the Hammers, halfway inside the Leeds United half on that left-hand touchline.
Game's just gone a bit flat.
Well, it's almost half-time, isn't it?
It is, but it's just gone a bit flat. And these tactics now of West Ham, which is to allow Leeds to go into these wider areas and cross, they've got to come up with something different in the second half. Leeds, they've got bright, lively, technical players in forward areas. They've got to be better with their movement and their passing, because this going out to Ayling or to the left-hand side and whipping balls in isn't going to bear fruit, I don't think. McKennie surges forward over the halfway line. He's got some support down the right-hand side, sweeps it into Rodrigo's path. McKennie trying to get in the penalty area, likewise with Forshaw on the edge of the D. It's going to be cushioned back possibly for Harrison's shot. Instead is the cross. Nonto was the intended target, shortest man on the pitch, headed away by West Ham United and met by Adam Forshaw, who spins one way then the other, then finds Pascal Struijk. It's across towards the far post, and that's gone out of play for a goal kick to West Ham United, and it will be 4 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. Leeds started well, took the lead with a really well-struck goal from Rodrigo, but West Ham United back on level terms with their skipper and hammer of the year, Declan Rice, after great work from Jared Bowen on the right-hand side of the penalty area. And it's all square as we head into added time at the end of the first half. David Moyes track-suited, doing a little dance on the sidelines there. Steve? Well, more of a sort of wafting of the arms. He was almost like doing ballet moves. I don't think anyone's ever going to match a certain West Ham manager for dancing on the sidelines.
Yes, although he was at that time in charge of Crystal Palace, wasn't he?
Oh, was
the FA Cup final when they took the lead. We are, of course, referring to Mr. Pardew, who had a little jig, didn't he, on the sidelines?
I don't know what it was, to be honest. He was carried away, that's what it was.
Well, not wise when you take the lead so early in the game that they lost. Here come Leeds again, edge of the West Ham United penalty area. Sense of urgency maybe will increase in the second half for Leeds, because they know that they need 2 wins, whereas West Ham United, some of their fans make for the concourses, Steve. You know, they're just enjoying the end of season.
Yeah, but the game is extremely flat at this moment in time. You know, West Ham are comfortable just to sit back and soak up a little bit of pressure, knowing that it's mainly crosses from wide areas that they're dealing with comfortably.
Forshaw slips it into the edge of the penalty area, touched off by Koch. Maybe an opportunity to create an opportunity for Jack Harrison to carve something, but he had his back to goal. Now it's Struijk with the cross, and that's blocked by Jared Bowen, and it's a corner kick. Claims of handball from the completely wrong end of the pitch, really, from the Leeds United fans. That is absolute ambition, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just given something to cheer about at the end of this first half, because for the last 20-25 minutes they've sort of been in bated breath in anticipation that West Ham were going to equalise, which they did, or then go on and get the lead. But this should be the last actions, really, and it gives Leeds an opportunity.
Forshaw will take the corner kick in towards the 6-yard box. Fabianski gathers. Easy pluck out of the air in the end from the header from Robin Koch, and it will be West Ham who can run it clear down the left-hand side again with Declan Rice finding Souček. Here is Paqueta on the right-hand side of the centre circle, jogs forward and finds Soufal. Guides it back to Zuma, who's been dispossessed by Rodrigo, and he dawdled on the ball. It's Rodrigo inside the penalty area, takes it wide, checks back. Now he levers it into the path of the substitute Nonto. He mishits it. Then there's another misfire from Harrison. And Rodrigo can't quite believe that all his hard work led to 2 awful efforts from his teammates, Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, which was worse? Nonto completely missing it, or Harrison dragging it well wide?
I might even have a little pop. I mean, it's wonderful still initially.
You can have a pop at Rodrigo?
Yeah, a little bit, because one of the touches takes him wide and on the angle where he can't take the shot. And actually, with a better touch, he would have been at an angle where he could have maybe found a far corner. But once you cut back, once you delay and you cut back, you are allowing West Ham players to get goal side and be able to put players under pressure. But nevertheless, technically, the 2 shots that we saw were really poor, enough to see Sam Allardyce with his arms outstretched turn away in frustration.
Here come West Ham. Bowen, referee waves play on. He got caught in midfield again. Souček on the right-hand side. Bowen gets himself to his feet. Souček delivers into the edge of the 6-yard box. Christensen with a header away, and an effort which sails just over the top of the bar from Paqueta, who puts his head in his hands, because that was a really well-struck effort. Watched it all the way down. There was nothing that anyone could do if that was going to go in, but it didn't come down early enough. And it's well, not a goal kick, because the referee's blown his whistle for half-time. Here then at London Stadium on this Sunday afternoon, West Ham's last home game of the campaign. Went behind to Leeds United to Rodrigo early doors, equalising through their skipper Declan Rice after good work from Jarrod Bowen. In a game that probably in many respects means more to Leeds United, in a game that they have to win. West Ham United, who started slowly, have grown into the match and have restored parity by the break. It's West Ham 1, Leeds United 1.
BBC Radio London,
the home of London football.
Steve Brown, sorry, I just barged your leg there, Steve. What do you make of that first half, Brownie, all told?
I thought it was an excellent start from Leeds as the away side. I thought they applied pressure on the West Ham back line, and actually I thought the goal itself was a wonderful finish. You won't see many better volleys than that from a long throw-in. I thought from that point onwards, though, West Ham found a way to get back into the game, slowly started to turn the screw, started to apply the pressure, and quite rightly equalised with a well-worked move down their right-hand side. You know, Bowen with a give and go and a lovely, delightful ball to the far post. Great to see Rice, you know, getting into the penalty area, timing his runs to good effect, and it wasn't a clean finish. He volleyed the ball into the ground, but it was good enough to find the back of the net. And actually, what I would say is then Leeds have struggled to have any fluidity to the performance. They lost Bamford and forced into a substitution. They've got a striker up front who's not very physical, so they've got to kind of change the way they play a little bit, in terms of it's got to be all on the ground. Any balls delivered into the box now, there's no physicality, so they're struggling to create opportunities. They've got to be a certain way for Leeds now in terms of how they create those chances, but it's a difficult task for them.
Am I just being overly cautious by getting worried that every time Jarrod Bowen gets, you know, because he's a winger and he's a wide man and he's constantly in contact, and he's gone down a couple of times after challenges, not unfair challenges necessarily, but I still think he's such an important player.
Yeah. But I think if you look at him across the season, I think he's like that most games.
Yeah. I know, but
he draws contact because of the way that he plays. He's direct, he's quick, and he draws people into making lunging challenges or little blocks on him, and so he's going to get these little contacts that cause him a little bit of discomfort, but nothing's over the top in terms of what would lead to an injury. So I'm not overly concerned with him. Okay. He is a danger player for West Ham. He's looked bright and lively down this right-hand side, and actually he's caused Strike a few issues off the shoulder. Certainly, you know, that's what led to the goal. He wasn't tracked again and got him behind. But yeah, I was quite surprised how West Ham tailed tailed off in that last 5, 6, 7 minutes of that first half because they were in control of the game. They got back into it, they got an equalise, and they tailed off and sort of sat back and accepted 1-1. We'll just get to half-time, and there's enough quality, I think, in that side to break through the lines and play going forward. We saw Paqueta with a wonderful break on the counter-attack to feed Fornals, who sliced his shot away. But I think there are chances for West Ham to exploit, particularly in the second half, as Leeds are going to be forced, you would have thought, to go for a second for players like Fornals, Paqueta, you know, and Bowen to counter-attack. But yeah, the game's finally poised, but I feel like West Ham are the stronger of the two sides, particularly with the substitution, because I thought Bamford did cause quite a few issues in that first 15-20 minutes for the two centre-halves.
Elsewhere, Brighton 0-0 with Southampton. I think Matoma's just hit the post for Brighton and Hove Albion against the already relegated Southampton. Lucy, Chelsea very close now to getting this important win against Arsenal in the WSL.
Yeah, they're into 5 minutes of added time at Kingsmeadow. Still Chelsea 0, Chelsea 2, Arsenal 0. And yeah, Katie McCabe maybe sums up Arsenal's afternoon, putting her penalty wide when she could have halved the deficit about, 25 minutes ago or so. So yeah, Chelsea looking on course for yet another WSL title. Their dominance continues. It would be their 4th in a row under Emma Hayes. Yeah,
which is pretty extraordinary, isn't it? We're talking about the dominance of Manchester City in the men's game, but Chelsea likewise. But again, Manchester United's emergence has been really, really positive. What would Arsenal have done, Luce, if they'd not suffered those injuries?
Yeah, it's beggars belief, really, what they've gone through this year. And you think about the Champions League, to push Wolfsburg so close, to take it all the way to extra time, and to have another ACL in that game with Weinritter going out with that injury, and to lose so agonisingly, and then to fall away in the league has just been devastating for them.
Fascinating show yesterday that I was invited on about the ACL injuries, and they have to do something. The governing body have to do something. You've got all this data, all these studies are in place, the information's there. Get it out to the teams, get it out to the staff members, make sure the players understand, you know, because it will continue, sadly. You know, and the one statistic shocked me: 6 times more likely to suffer an ACL, a woman than a man, which, you know, you've got to get on top of that physiologically. Otherwise you are going to see more and more. But yeah, fascinating to listen to, you know, and horrible for the players that have the injuries, because it's 10% of your career gone. You know, most of it's a year out. If you do a 10-year career, that's 10% of your career gone.
The Women's Sports Show yesterday, 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. If you missed it, an ACL special. It's on BBC Sounds right now, by the way. Manchester City's Premier League title party gets underway this afternoon at the Etihad as Pep Guardiola's side host Chelsea. The Blues have a torrid record of late against Pep's side, losing 5 straight games without even scoring a goal, Steve, in all competitions. That, of course, is since Tommy Tuchel's side got the better of them in the Champions League final. Interim boss Frank Lampard says tests don't come much bigger than this.
Well, I don't know about the greatest. I think that's a hard debate, but they're clearly a fantastic team, and they have been for a good while now, and so huge credit to that consistency of doing it year in, year out. I think on those levels, I think they probably are coming very close to the greatest team, and obviously the cherry on top is to win and keep winning and win Champions Leagues, etc. And the form they're in at the minute, you wouldn't want to bet against them on anything. So huge credit to the club. I worked there for a year, I understand it quite well, and the manager and the players, because it's a really strong and smooth machine. So full respect for them.
Well, talking about machines, they've got one up front this season, haven't they, Manchester City? But Lampard revealed he once tried to sign a certain Norwegian striker who has scored as many goals in the Premier League this season as the entire Chelsea squad.
It's a fantastic stat from him. I know the Chelsea side isn't, but it's another story. But I've got a huge respect from the players. A player I tried to bring to Chelsea the first time I was here, and was really keen to get him here. Obviously that couldn't happen. But his level at that point was very clear as well. We played against him in a pre-season game at Salzburg, and he was fantastic. So credit to him. I love seeing players at that level. I love seeing players with that personality and level of hunger to play and be the best, which he's proven himself to be. And in terms of having to deal with him, I think you have to have obviously a plan and an idea, but players of that level can make anything happen at any moment. So I'm sure the players have a good awareness of him, and you have to be at your best to try and negate the things he does.
Well, I dare think he may score this afternoon, Phil, but there is good news for some parts of Chelsea elsewhere, because Chelsea women have secured that 2-0 win over Arsenal. So as it stands, they are cruising towards another WSL title.
Manchester United and Man City play later. Emma Hayes says she will not watch it, Luce, because she's going to take her son out on his bike with his cousins in North London for a little bit of a cycle around. I don't know, the weather's turned, it's maybe not so, but yeah, you can't do anything by watching it, can you? So you might as well ignore it. What about the similarities between Hardland and a certain great Didier Drogba?
Yeah, I couldn't compare him to Didier because they're two different individuals in different moments at their clubs, and but of course, as a Chelsea person, Didier had that impact over a long period of time, and Haaland's just started out, and his impact has been more instant, and that's a big credit to him, because how he's managed to do that coming straight to the Premier League. Some people doubted that a little bit, and I think that he's proven that for starters. But Didier, over a really sustained period, did huge things for this club. I don't think there's a direct comparison, but they're both obviously great strikers.
I love Didier Drogba.
Yeah.
He was amazing, especially at left back in the Camp Nou. Already at the Etihad for us is Mark Taylor. Are you going to form part of the Guard of Honour, Mark?
With Manchester City yesterday confirmed as champions, the Chelsea players will today form a Guard of Honour for the City players to acknowledge their title win. It's City's 5th Premier League title in 6 seasons. What an achievement that is. City will be presented with the Premier League trophy later on today. The question is, can Chelsea come here and spoil the coronation party? Having lost here twice already this season in the 2 cup competitions, Chelsea will hope to fare better in this Premier League encounter. Chelsea arrive here, though, having won just 1 of their last 9 league matches, a run that has left them 12th in the table, and now with little chance of a top-half finish. You sense Chelsea will need to raise their game considerably and hope that City are distracted by all the celebrations.
Mark, thank you very much. Get team news from you in a little while as well. We heard from Mikel Arteta before kick-off, with Forest beating Arsenal to hand Manchester City the title. Now let's reflect on the other action yesterday, and back-to-back London derbies we brought you on the home of London football.
It's Mbeumo. He got a chance for a hat-trick, leaves it for Wissa, and Brentford have got the win here at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Mbeumo squares it to Wissa. That's 3 goals and 3 points here in North London. It's Tottenham 1, Brentford 3.
It's in many ways unbelievable what we have achieved so far this season. Hopefully there's a bit more. Maybe we can push it for the last day and go into Europe. But just a top 10 finish secured, maybe 9th, 8th, we don't know. That's unbelievable. But good owner, good leaders, fantastic staff, fantastic players, and we're all aligned and we work in the same direction, and then you can create wonders with a small club like ours.
And how proud are you of your players who, at 1-0 down to a super goal, a fantastic goal?
Unbelievable goal.
Yeah, and they were creating chances. But your players never lost their sense, they never lost their shape, they never lost their calm.
I spot on. I think first half, I'm disappointed with our overall performance first half. We're 1-0 down, we're conceding some chances, but recovery runs, willpower, blocks, great save from a fantastic keeper. Keepers in the game, and a football match, we all know that's 90 plus 9 minutes, and that's so important. And then we had the opportunity to change a few things, and the performance second half is maybe the best away half performance of the season. The way we were very good on the ball, the way we were very good in the high pressure, aggressive, scored 2 fantastic goals and a good goal where we just don't drop in. We press it high and try to win it, and we won it, and 3-1. And then of course we had to dig in the last 10, playing here against a fantastic team. Just fantastic.
We say all the time in this league, you have to compete for 95 minutes. I thought the first half we played a very good match. Should have scored more, but 1-0 is a dangerous scoreline, and if you're not at it for the whole game, then you get punished. Some of the goals we conceded were poor, and I thought in the second half they were the better team, so they deserved to win.
What was your message at full time to the players in the dressing room? What's the mood like in there right now?
To be honest, I've not had an opportunity to speak to him. I think sometimes when the emotion's so high, it's probably best not to speak to him. But obviously, overall disappointed. I think the overall feeling in the stadium and everyone throughout the season has been probably disappointment.
Boos at the final whistle. None of you want to hear from the home fans, but can you understand their frustration right now?
Yeah, of course. Of course, it's normal when you lose matches and you go on a run like we've been on for a number of months now. So the only way to turn that around is to stick together, to start winning games and, stay together.
Here comes Olise with the free kick, whipped in left-footed, this could fall anywhere, shot by Ward, comes on the keeper, and Ward has turned it in on the rebound. Joel Ward scoring for Crystal Palace. One of the most unlikely scorers you could imagine. He had 2 bites of the cherry the second time he put it in, and Ward, the captain, has equalised here for the Eagles. Fulham 2, Crystal Palace 2.
Well, it's gone extremely well. I mean, I don't know what I believed or what I thought or what I expected, really. It was more a question of accepting the challenge and being grateful to the club and Steve Parish for asking me to come back and showing that faith and confidence in me. And then really it was a question of getting down to work with Ray Lewington and Paddy McCarthy, 2 fantastic assistants, and Dean Kiley, who does all our set plays. That was a really good group, I thought, a good team behind the team. And I thought, well, I'm going to enjoy working with this group of people. If we're lucky enough to find a group of players who are receptive and want to work, who knows, maybe we'll be able to do something. And that's exactly what's happened. But now it's going to be a question for these players of learning a lesson from the way the season's gone. You know, didn't go well in the beginning, it's gone well now. How are they going to keep things going for next season? That's something we'll find out, but it'll be lessons hopefully they will have learned during the course of this season.
Well, that's Roy Hodgson ending that little report. The teams are back out here for the start of the second half. Lucia Lever, there's a change being made, I think, by David Moyes.
Yeah, and it looks like they might have had to have made an enforced change at the back, and it's Kurt Zuma who's had to go off, and Timo Kehrer, the German international, has come on in his place. Obviously, he did feature out in...
yeah, he started, yeah.
RZ, so he was one of the changes, and he's had to come on at half-time.
Interesting. Did we see what that was about, Steve? I mean, I'm not quite sure. Steve Brown with us.
I mean, he got caught in possession a couple of times. I don't know. I guess there's an injury there of some sorts. You know, if it's a forced change, but I didn't see anything in his performance, or certainly anything in his physical stature that led me to believe he was carrying an injury just before half-time. So that one will have to be tidied up after the game.
Well, he's off, Kehra's on, and it's West Ham United with the kick-off. So they've got Fabianski in goal, Soufal, Kehrer, Ogbonna and Emerson as their back line. Souček and Rice in front of them, Bowen, Paqueta, Fornals and Ings as the front 4. Joel Robles in goal for Leeds United. Ayling, Werber, Christensen, Struijk, their back 4. Robin Koch and Adam Forshaw sort of screening in front of them. And now, of course, we saw a change being made for them. Patrick Bamford having to get taken off to be replaced by Wilfred Gnonto with an injury to Patrick Bamford. So it's Rodrigo playing through the middle, Gnonto and Harrison wide, with Weston McKennie trying to support as well, and Koch getting forward as often as he possibly can. West Ham United attacking from right to left as we look at it. Many fans making their way back to their seats at the end of the half-time interval. There's a little shove by Soufal on Gnonto and a free kick awarded to Leeds, and the Czech international 30-year-old with a wry smile backpedals back towards the halfway line, shakes his head, doesn't agree with Peter Banks's decision, but it's been given, and it'll be a free kick which will be taken by the Leeds goalkeeper a long way out from his penalty area.
Yeah, but this is what I said, you know, back line pushed up to the halfway line, long ball coming in, fight for the knockdowns. You're probably not going to win this first header. You're going to plant it onto the West Ham back line, who are favourites. Well, actually, Koch's just gone from a midfield position to a centre forward position, but they've still won it. But look, as we've just witnessed, they're positioned to win that seconds, and it was Forshaw that won it, but he's given it straight to West Ham.
Here come West Ham, looking to slide it into the run of Danny Ings, who tried to give thanks to the ball that was driven forward by Jared Bowen. Couldn't get on the end of it. Here's Ogbonna, slams it over the halfway line. Ayling trying to win it for Leeds, taking it away from Fornals. Fornals battling with him. Ayling, though, comes away with it with his little man bun bobbling on the back of his head there, Steve. which obviously, well, he's got the hair for it, so why not, I'd say. Brings it under control again, does Ayling. Lambeth-Bourne, right side, drives it in towards the edge of the penalty area. Just touched away by Gnonto and Soufal, who was with him stride for stride. And then it's going to be Gnonto who receives it on that far touchline, battling with Jared Bowen. And the referee's given a free kick anyway, I think, for a foul on Bowen. Brighton lead by a goal to 0. Evan Ferguson, I think, has struck for Brighton against relegated Southampton.
He's going to be unbelievable.
Yes.
Ferguson. He develops, you know, he's first onto the scene, he's a handful, he's strong, he knows where the goal is, he's got good technical ability. It's another player off the conveyor belt for them.
Carl Robinson chatting away to Sam Allardyce. I imagine there's a lot of that going on with Carl, to be honest. He's a chatty lad, isn't he, Carl Robinson, Steve?
Yeah.
And very experienced alongside Big Sam. Little Sam not available because he's on jury duty.
Hell of a case.
Well, he might be available now, but I couldn't have. Well, maybe it is. You know, you get on a fraud or something, and he could be there for months. There was one example. I think there was one trial in Mexico went on for 4 years. 3 divorces amongst the jurors because, you know, through abandonment. Here is a free kick to West Ham on the right-hand touchline, halfway inside the Leeds United half. The referee Peter Banks just having a word with the Leeds United wall. Hasn't put his spray anymore.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to have put any down. Maybe he's lost it. That's, you know, scandalous. Here comes that free kick, which will be whipped by Soufal in towards the 6-yard box. Headed away by Struijk towards the far touchline. Harrison dabs it up in the air, volleys it clear. Gnonto is battling for it, manages to win it, but he wins it with a shove on Fornal. So it'll be a free kick on the halfway line to West Ham United, and the Leeds fans a little bit.
Yeah, there's been some very soft decisions in this second half already. We're only 4 minutes in, but there was a challenge earlier that you know, from Gnonto again, actually, that you thought, you know, they could have let that go. That one there, Fornals, I think, was a little bit lucky because he completely misread the flight of the ball anyway. He was lucky he got a little bit of contact off Gnonto to draw the foul.
Another foul from Wilfried Gnonto. This time on Vladimir Soufal.
That one is a foul. He didn't get any contact on the ball.
He got close, I suppose, so that's why it's not a card or anything. He was in the vicinity of the ball, Steve. If that counts, I'm not quite sure. So you don't. Do you know the other thing? Lots of popcorn going past, Steve.
Is it?
Yeah. That's much more fragrant than the fishy smell that was being cooked up downstairs.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, the popcorn is quite tempting, Steve. Are you a sweet or a salty man?
Sweet. Yeah. Told you yesterday, if I go to the cinema, hot dog.
Oh, hot dog.
Yeah.
Better than the one we had at Palace, no doubt.
Villa are away is the nightmare.
Has Mitoma scored for, who scored for Brighton?
I think Evan Ferguson has got another foul.
Has he? Wow, 2-0. This is taking an age to get this free kick going, by the way. Referee Peter Banks has just almost been it's almost like putting ducks in a row to make sure that he's happy with it. It's a free kick for West Ham United over on the far touchline. Curled into the 6-yard box, headed away this time by Weston McKennie. Drops to Pablo Fornals. He slides it infield. Paqueta with a drive, punched away by the Leeds United goalkeeper to this near touchline.
Yeah, and it was an easy save actually. It was a good strike from Paqueta. You know, technically difficult. You know, when it's coming at your pace to get it off with that power and accuracy, but it was a comfortable save for the Leeds keeper.
West Ham have won it back again. Edge of the penalty area defended by Leeds. Here's Danny Ings, wriggled into the 18-yard box. Ings gets it back from the initial clearance. Now it's Declan Rice. That's a good little chip in towards that 18-yard box, chested back by Struijk to his goalkeeper. Robles picks up, and we've played 51 minutes. It's one apiece on BBC or Radio London Sport and DAB on digital radio on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday lunchtime. Here is Harrison breaking off the right-hand side for the visitors. Surely Rodrigo is offside. Flag will stay down. Will he convert from here? No, he won't. And then the flag goes up. So, I mean, he was so far offside, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah, and depends who you speak to, you know, because it's one of...
no, but
we
look,
all
look, come on.
But Phil, we all understand why it's not given.
He was 2 yards off.
Yeah, but it is frustrating because...
He knew it as well.
As soon as the keeper saved it, as soon as Fabianski made it say, he looked over to the linesman.
But I think he knew it. I think he was unsure anyway when he took the shot. It wasn't a shot of conviction or an attack of conviction, but anyway. It's brought Big Sam up. Guess what? He's chewing gum, Steve.
Yeah. I mean, his worry will be, Phil, if you're sitting there talking to Carl Robinson, is how are we going to unpick
West Ham?
Yeah, to score a second.
Here they come, forward with Ayling, slides it straight into the boots of Angelo Ogbonna. West Ham have it with Emerson, touched back by Declan Rice. He will be a big loss if he were to leave West Ham. Not saying he is, but he would be a big loss, but there will be a queue of clubs who would want his services. The 24-year-old London-born youth team player at Chelsea.
I think the only thing that's going to stop it is that he has only got 12 months left of a contract.
Yeah.
And the fee is obviously a wonderful bit
Great
of skill.
skill from Paqueta in midfield, though, from West Ham, and he does it again. Another little Cruyff turn, pokes it forward. 2 on the bounce. Fornals brings it under control, almost on the halfway line. West Ham have now pushed into Leeds territory. Only Lucas Fabianski back for West Ham United. It's Bowen, loses possession. But Soufal picks it up again as it was wafted clear by the Leeds back line. The orbit just behind that stand that we're looking at, which is the far side of the pitch from us, behind the Billy Bond stand. People making their way up it, and West Ham making their way in towards the edge of the Leeds United penalty area. Here they go again. Souček delivers far post. And then a little bit of dawdling as to who's going to deal with it, and eventually it's Gnonto who scoops it clear. And it'll be a hammer's throw on that left-hand side, and Carl Robinson marches towards the dugout, and I think there's going to be conversations about a possible change for Leeds United.
Yeah, I mean, the issue they have is that they've got so far into a season and they've designed a team and recruited a team that's not in the style of Sam Allardyce.
No.
You know, so what they've got here is a set of players that have been playing a certain way for 3/4 of the season and more. And they can't really play the way that Sam Allardyce would want his team to play. They just don't have the right makeup.
A lot of discussions on the Leeds United bench at this moment in time. Goodness gracious. It's almost like Marcelo Bielsa's back with his coaching staff. They had hundreds of them, didn't they, on the sideline, Steve? They used to cram in their little coaching box at Ellen Road.
Yeah, they used to be borderline intrusive. You know, there'd be 6 of them and they'd be harassing the 4th official. They would encroach into the opposition. Yeah.
Here comes Declan Rice encroaching towards the edge of the Leeds United penalty area very centrally. Manages to cushion it out wide to Emerson on the left-hand touchline. Down near the byline, it's Danny Ings. Runs up against Christensen, who's managed to scramble it clear. Dinks it towards the halfway line. That came off a West Ham United boot last with a deflection. So Leeds have a throw to try and clear the pressure. David Moyes waving his arms around again. On the sidelines, trying to get some instructions to his team, and Luke Ayling has it tucked under his arm, preparing to take a throw in on the right-hand side for Leeds United. One apiece, BBC Radio London.
Yeah, game needs aliveness, doesn't it? It's flat. Neither team are excelling at this moment in time, not troubling each other. We've had the Paqueta shot, or Paqueta, and it was well saved by Robles. But yeah, it's gone flat. I'm struggling to see how Leeds are going to conjure up an opportunity here. They've got to start passing actually and playing through the lines, because they can't go forward direct because they're not in a position to pick up the seconds. The line's too deep. You know, they don't have the physicality to challenge that ball anyway, and they certainly don't have the positioning to challenge the seconds as it's knocked down into midfield. So they're in a little bit of a difficult position in that respect tactically. Got to start passing through the midfield for me, and it's got to be about movement and rotation.
2-0 to Brighton against relegated Southampton. Leeds are trying to avoid going down with the Saints. This time it's Emerson who goes down and wins a free kick for West Ham United just outside the centre circle in the Leeds half of the pitch, and Leeds are definitely going to make a change. Carl Robinson, Robbie Keane, all involved in the discussions about this, Lucy?
Yeah, it looks like a double change actually, because Brendan Aronson was called over first of all. He's still getting his instruction, but Crescencio Somerville has also just been called back, and he is getting stripped down now too. So I think he's the player actually who scored the winner at Anfield in that away win. So they'll be hoping for that similar kind of inspiration, but just waiting to see who they will come on for. Be another minute or so, I think.
Well, 2 attacking players, they've got to go for it, Steve, really.
Well, they can't even keep hold of the ball at the moment, Phil. So, I mean, West Ham are dominating possession. My criticism of West Ham is they're just not doing anything with the possession they've got. It's a real lacklustre second half up to this point.
Well, nothing's happened really.
No,
I mean, as you said, we've seen, well, very little. As Koch angles it towards Wober delivers angled ball to the right-hand side this time, and Harrison plucks it out of the air. Up against Emerson for Leeds United. Decent cross far post. 2 players go for it. Weston McKennie had, well, in behind him, maybe the better run possibly that was being provided by Wilfred Gnonto. McKennie's up to his feet, but he was stretching, wasn't he, McKennie? That was better from Leeds United.
Yeah, sweeping diagonal, wasn't it, from left to right, which put Harrison in. It was a delightful first touch from Harrison into his own path, and it was a good delivery. Bypassed the 2 centre-halves to the far post.
Should Gnonto have called for that more?
100%, you were correct with your analysis of that. He was in a better position. He should have shouted nice and early. He should have got McKennie out the way. He should have ducked out the way of it, and Gnonto should have come onto it. Yeah.
Just like McKennie he was not in the right position even to go for the header.
When you're backpedaling like that, you're just not going to get the power and direction on the header. When you're coming onto it, you can direct and power.
Ings, nice little back heel, now sends Fornals in possession of the ball on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Attacked by West Ham, it's Emerson into Ings. His cross, bagatelles around inside that 18-yard box. Claims of maybe a hand in there. If anything, it would have been very accidental as Leeds United try and break forward again with Harrison. Ayling's behind him, oh dear. He's miscontrolled that. He's completely missed it as Luke Ayling, and it's drifted out of play.
But I think the worst thing
for a
about
throw into West Ham.
That handball was off a West Ham player, and I think it's Bowen that's actually blocked that shot from going in at the far post. So I need to see a replay of
Emerson, it trickles through with a deflection into Bowen inside the penalty area. Bowen goes towards the far post, saved by the keeper, then guided back to him while he was still on the ground by Luke Ayling.
Yeah, we'll wait for a replay, but I've got a funny feeling that Bowen is the player that it hits. And I think it is creeping in towards Robles' left-hand post, and he blocks that shot from going in.
Leeds again, carry it forward. And it is boomed by Robles again over the top, and here comes Rodrigo, patted down and gathered by the 38-year-old Lukas Fabianski. Former Arsenal player, of course, and Swansea, 176th start now for West Ham United. Hasn't played in the European games. You imagine that Areola will play in the final as a consequence. Here goes Fabianski again, left-footed, delivers towards the halfway line. And Paqueta's taken it away from Ayling. Christensen loops it into West Ham territory. Plucked out of the air by Declan Rice, who's going to deliver out wide to Jared Bowen. Lovely ball. Bowen, edge of the Leeds United penalty area, still with it. Bowen towards the byline. He tries to shape across into the 6-yard box. It's blocked behind by a backtracking Struijk, and that will be a corner kick which Bowen will take on the right for West Ham, and he's caused consternation continually when he's done these. And the West Ham fans are up on their feet.
Yeah, nice warm round of applause for that, but that's an incredible first touch and diagonal pass from Declan Rice, showing his range.
Here it comes again, Bowen, left-footed curler, 6-yard box. Robles has to make the save because it bounced awkwardly as it was headed down by Souček, and out of play it goes for another corner kick to West Ham, this time on the left.
Yeah, needed the keeper's attention, didn't it? It wasn't a particularly powerful header, and once it hit the ground, it was sort of bounced up to, it might have crept in under the bar, I don't know, but it needed the keeper's attention to push it over for this second corner.
Emerson will take it on the left-hand side this time. Out swinger then from the former Chelsea man, the Brazilian, puts his right hand up in the air, takes it left-footed, swirler, 6-yard box, heads go up, Leeds get it cleared temporarily, chested down by Soufal, met by Pablo Fornals almost on the halfway line, and he dinks it down that left-hand flank to Emerson. No one closing in down. Weston McKennie now jogs over to do so. Emerson's got time to deliver far post, patted away by the Leeds goalkeeper Robles again, and Declan Rice will keep it in. Well, he won't get it into his path, Declan Rice, in fact, and Gnonto is able to run it clear, and then he is just barged to the ground by Paqueta, and it will be a free kick. And I think Leeds are now going to make their changes, Lucy.
It's taken them an incredibly long time, and I think they made a tactical tweak as well, because they weren't going to bring on Aronson. He went back to warm up, but now he is going to come on. So it looks like Jack Harrison is going to make way first, and Adam Forshaw is going to be the second change. So Somerville and Brendan Aronson on for Jack Harrison and Adam Forshaw.
Thank you very much indeed. So Crescencio Somerville comes on, and Brendan Aronson comes on as well. Instructions being handed out, and New Jersey born Brendan Aronson started 29 games so far this season. Blooder plays for Eintracht Frankfurt. And Patrick Bamford's back on the benches. He received some treatment after going off. And Somerville, born in Rotterdam, Dutch international up to under 21 level. As it's into the West Ham United penalty area again, but it just wriggles away and guided and shepherded out of play by Lucas Fabianski. So Sam Allardyce is throwing whatever he can at it. Steve?
He had to do something. They've barely threatened in this second half up to this point. So I think he's gone higher tempo. You know, Harrison runs his socks off, as we know. You know, maybe that's a reason he's been pulled out, because he is quite threatening, but he did a lot of unseen running, particularly in that first 45 minutes defensively. But he had to do something, Sam Allardyce, because they just haven't been able to get into this game, Leeds second half.
Down the left-hand side, Leeds United come again. It's a whipped-in cross looking for the likes of Somerville.
But again,
and Rodrigo, but West Ham United have... Paqueta has the ball on. He's kicked it out wide towards the far touchline for a throw-in. He's a bit frustrated. Here's Lucas Paqueta as Peter Banks blows his whistle. I mean, what we played now, we've played 18 minutes of the second half, Steve, and it's been forgettable.
Absolutely it has, yeah. And I think it's down to West Ham, actually, because they're the side with the most possession, and they're playing at a lower tempo, and they need to up their tempo. But here comes that long throw from McKennie. It's defended well at the near post, but that's about as threatening as they've been, actually.
They've won a corner from it, though. It came off Souček, according to Peter Banks, the referee. You can see the nuns loose. You can see them in the top tier, right near the barrier. A load of people in black and white. I don't know if you can see them in the Leeds United contingency. I can see them sort of halfway up.
Is that cueing into some joke about they're living on a prayer?
Oh, I don't know. No, I'm not quite sure, but that's very good. Thank you. Here comes the 6-yard box gathered. They're hoping that their team can get into some good habits, I would have thought, in the last 2 games of the season, Steve, as West Ham United break forward from the gather from Lucas Fabianski. Bowen inside the penalty area. Leeds getting back in numbers as well, and Bowen winning a corner kick.
Yeah, the 2 substitutes having to rescue that counter-attack. Aronson trying desperately to recover from the edge of West Ham's 18-yard box all the way to his own 18-yard box, and it's Somerville comes across and makes the block, and if he doesn't, they're banging trouble. But you shouldn't be counter-attacked on like that from a set piece, from your own set piece.
Bowen will take the corner again.
It does happen when you're making subs away from home and new manager, etc., etc.
And you're chasing it. Here it comes in towards the near post, headed away this time though by the Leeds United defensive line with Robin Koch. It's Bowen who picks up possession again. He tricks his way inside the penalty area. Little cut back for Ings. His shot smothered away this time by Ayling. Now Nonto is caught. That may well be the first card of the afternoon as he tried to scuttle away the 43rd yellow card of West Ham United's season, as he tried to get clear of Paqueta. He just got ahead of him, really, and Paqueta, Somerville, wasn't it, should I say, just stood on his foot. Crescencio Somerville did Paqueta, so it's the first yellow card of the afternoon.
Yeah, and another excellent block in that last attack from Ayling again. He doesn't mind throwing himself in front of those last-ditch attempts to make those blocks. It was a decent set from Bowen to the edge of the box, but Ayling got there nice and quick, went to ground, made a decent block.
Flicked into the penalty area for Rodrigo to chase. Meantime, West Ham United will have to call on the medical staff for an injury inside the 6-yard box. And I think that's Souček who's gone down. Danny Ings comes to the sideline, gets a drink. Leeds United players are called to the sidelines as well, so they can have a bit of refreshment. Peter Banks, the referee, just stays and makes sure that everything is all in order. I think, actually, if anything, I think the suggestion is that the back of the head was headed by Souček onto Robin Koch. We're getting a close-up of the nuns now, Luce.
I can't miss them now. It's a very sizable number of them too.
There are a lot of them.
It's a very good effort from the Leeds fans. We see it from time to time towards the end of the season, the last away games that clubs have, they get in fancy dress. Probably all kicked off at cricket games. It started at cricket games.
Probably, yeah. Hartlepool used to do it all the time. I think it may have, was it Orient or Charlton? I can't remember. Hartlepool were playing and they all turned up as Smurfs.
No, Hartlepool came to Charlton,
was that the Smurfs one?
Absolutely, a few years back, yeah.
So, I mean, it's an incredible effort because everyone was decked out in a Smurf and with the face paint, with the blued up. There's an amazing picture of a load of them on one of the tube stations, Steve, riding the tube.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if you've just arrived in London as a tourist coming to this fine city of ours, and you get on at Oxford Circus, and the first thing you see as you're going up the tube is 100 Smurfs going down? Could you imagine? That's your first experience of London.
It's taking a little longer than we thought.
Yeah, we had a bash on the nose, I think, or thereabouts did Thomas Souček. So it's taking their time to sort him out. Sam Allardyce is deep in conversation again with Carl Robinson on the sidelines. There's some worried faces amongst the Leeds United contingent. They've had a poor season, Steve, a very poor season. They've already lost 19 games. This could be their, if they lost today, it could be their 20th defeat. They need to win today to get out of the bottom three. If they don't get out of the bottom three, it's out of their hands. Everton host Bournemouth on the last day of the season. West Ham United will be at Leicester. Leeds United have Tottenham at home.
Yeah, it has been a poor season. You've highlighted the goals against already today.
Oh, dear, look at that nose.
But there's nothing.
That doesn't look good, Steve.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, I've had a few of those in my time, and it's not very nice. It'll hurt tonight. You sneeze later on, so you know about it. Sorry, Lucy, but it does happen. You go home with these blocks up your nose, and when and you're pointing in the wrong direction, your wife says, "Could you have got any uglier?" and stuff like that. It does happen, Lucy. I've had cuts on across the eyebrows, nose is broken. It's part and parcel of it. I've had teeth hanging out when I got home. What have you done there? It's how it goes.
Yeah, that's when you've not even been at a game.
Yeah, but we're talking about Leeds, and in truth, other than the first 15-20 minutes today, they've not really been in this as an attacking side.
Fornals, back heel, Ings to Fornals again, centre circle, West Ham United, just to inject a little bit of pace is what they want into the game. So check back out there. I'm not sure he is at the moment in time, is he? Yes, he is. Yeah, a couple of wads of stuff up his nostrils. And here inside the penalty area is Ings. Tries to slide it into the 6-yard box to Bowen. Goes back to Emerson from the initial clearance from Christensen. Emerson tricks his way towards the byline. Leeds have got numbers back. Christensen's going to try and boom it towards the halfway line. Only Rodrigo to aim for. Cushioned headed down by Kehrer. Met by Declan Rice. And here's Angelo Ogbonna. And since coming on at half-time as well, by the way, Thilo Kehrer we've hardly mentioned because Leeds have not really challenged. There's been a couple of there was the Harrison cross to the far post. But Leeds have not even.
They haven't had a shot on target.
No, they haven't really got it up to the West Ham United penalty area.
35% possession and not a shot on target, and this is a team that really could do with a second goal. And it goes to what I said earlier. This isn't like Sam Allardyce would like to go more direct in this second half. He can't.
Hasn't got the players.
Because they have to drop deep to defend out of possession, which we're seeing right now. Back four's in place, midfield four's in front. Right, but when they go long and they lose the header, that midfield just can't get up and win the seconds. So he can't actually, go to the tactic that we would probably use in this instant. So then you've got to start passing the ball a lot more and trusting the midfield and the front players to keep hold of the ball and play through the lines. They're not doing that either. But West Ham, for me, are in the ascendancy. They've got the lion's share of possession. They're just not doing enough with it. It's too slow. It's too laboured. I'd want to go and get a second. If I was David Moyes, I'd make some substitutions even.
Yes, well, maybe you want to, Antonio, you want to protect him at this moment in time, but give Maxwell Cornet a run out now. 20 minutes for Cornet. He could do that, couldn't he? That would soothe him. Mubama, give him a little bit of a run. The 18-year-old came off the bench at Brentford last week as Fornals whips in across on the volley beyond Ayling into the penalty area, defended by Leeds. Plugged out of the air, though, comfortably by Paqueta, who receives it back from Emerson, styles it forward towards Ings on the edge of the penalty area again. Danny Ings, lovely little reverse pass. It's Bowen with the second goal for West Ham United. Great play on the edge of the penalty area. Paqueta to Ings, and then that little dribble forward to Bowen, who beats Joel Robles, and off the far post guides in West Ham United's goal to put them ahead. It's West Ham United 2, Leeds United 1.
Yeah, well, it must be a brilliantly timed run from Bowen. It's exceptional skill from Ings actually to find that little bit of pocket of space in the box. I mean, it's a great It's a great move all round. I think it's offside. I did question it at the time. I've got a funny feeling this is going to get VAR checked and offside, because to make that run, to get in behind the defence and score with, while staying onside, would be exquisite in terms of the timing. And I thought there might be like just half a leg or foot that was offside there, but if it's not, it's a brilliant move from West Ham, and the timing of that, of the pass and the run and the finish, is absolutely superb.
Well, it's difficult to see because you're not quite sure if that's the right angle, Lucy, because we're not looking at it square on, are we?
No, from this angle we're currently being shown, he looks like he's being played onside, but the initial angle we saw looked like he was offside. So this proves the perils of VAR, in that we don't have the full benefit of seeing every single minutiae that they are seeing in Stockley Park to make the call.
This is a massive call for Leeds, really, if no one else, Steve. I mean, West Ham obviously want to win at home.
The angle I'm seeing, it's on.
I think he's on. Yeah. He will be given as onside, and loud cheers around London Stadium, or the vast majority of London Stadium, as Jarrod Bowen scores his 12th goal of the season, his 6th in the Premier League, and it means that West Ham United now lead with 17 minutes to go by 2 goals to 1.
Yeah, and that's turned the atmosphere to a rather raucous one, and there's some waving going on from the West Ham fans to the Leeds fans, suggesting that bye-bye, as in you're down.
Yeah.
But what I would say, let's go back to the goal. We haven't had a great deal of quality, and West Ham, it was on West Ham to produce the quality from the possession they had, and they really did in that last move. Paqueta to Ings, who'd taken up a wonderful position, off the back line, but in behind the midfield unit, got his turn on, and the run from Bowen and the pass from Ings was exquisite.
Here down the right-hand side, West Ham United go again. Will be at the Etihad for team news of Chelsea against Man City shortly. It's a goal kick to Leeds, and let's go and find out who's in and who's out, Mark Taylor.
City make 9 changes to the team that started against Real Madrid. Only Kyle Walker and Manuel Akanji remain in the City 11. As for Chelsea, they have Kepa in goal. Wesley Fofana comes in at the back. Cesar Azpilicueta and Ruben Loftus-Cheek also start, with Kai Havertz leading the attack.
Lucy?
No comment.
Okay.
I'll tell you now, they've done work all week with a different 11 as well. So if they beat Chelsea with the 9 changes, they would have worked all week on not that 11 starting without any. So it changed yesterday when the result came in without any shadow of a doubt.
Oh yeah.
No Haaland though. So.
No, well, there you go. No Haaland.
It's going to be fine.
So Chelsea can go above him in the goal-scoring stakes. That's the good thing, isn't it, Lucy? If they score today, they will have scored more goals than Erling Haaland. So that's a good thing. Here come West Ham United again. Soufal. Now it's Bowen, who's checked his run. Rolls down the right-hand side of the attack. Ings is inside the penalty area. Back to Declan Rice. Now he drives it towards Fornals, and it's blocked over the crossbar by Ayling, and a flag's gone up.
I wondered if Bowen had stayed onside, but you've got to let it go.
I think he ran from an offside and came back on.
Yeah, it looked offside at the time, just in a replay, and it still looks offside, but Declan Rice shouldn't have passed that either. Put it in the back of the net, tried to be too clever.
Ayling with the block again, though, Steve.
Yeah, he is excellent at that. It's a brilliant asset he has. He senses danger and he puts his body on the line, and actually he's got up a couple of times from the blocks. He's been limping. I've been there. It's horrible. Your body hurts. You don't get enough appreciation for it. He's willing to put that body on the line time and time again to make those blocks. But Rice should have got the shot away.
Sense of desperation now from Leeds as they just ping it long. Nonto pokes it forward. Here's a chance, though, inside the penalty area to maybe create the opportunity for Somerville. It's scamped away by Declan Rice. Not far enough, though. It's Weston McKennie, and that's driven over the top of the bar from, 20 yards out from Cock. But initially, Crescencio Somerville and Brendan Aronson trying to create the opportunity. It just didn't quite sit comfortably. 1 or 2 players starting to hobble away. Nonto is one of them.
I don't know what Sam Allardyce can do, because
not a lot.
No, you've got this front sort of 4 or 5 players that are all the same shape, the same size. They've got the same abilities, and it's all about passing and moving. And it's all about keeping possession and rotations. It looks like to me, I haven't seen Leeds play too many times this year, but he can't change anything.
No.
There is no dynamic really where he can change and use a different tactic. What they've got to do more is trust themselves out there and keep possession better than they do.
Leeds looking again, launching it long for Rodrigo, headed away by Angelo Bonner, scraped down in midfield this time by Weston McKennie. On the far touchline, they're trying to advance with Nonto, slides it back in field. Now it's going to be Ayling on the right-hand side of the penalty area that West Ham United are defending. Ayling's cross far post, it'll bounce away from everyone. Thilo Kehrer high fives Vladimir Coufal as it bobbles out of play for a goal kick. With 13 minutes to go, Steve Brown.
Yeah, any fullbacks watching this game, just look what Coufal did there. As Somerville backs off to try and get a header on that, he just stands his ground, lets Somerville check into him, can't win the header, ball drifts out over everybody and out for a goal kick. It's excellent positioning and superb use of the body to put the forward off.
Paqueta inside the centre circle again for West Ham United. Slips it towards Fornals to the right of that centre circle. He lifts it down the right-hand side for Coufal to attack. 3 players to aim for. Here comes the cross. Christensen guides a header away for Leeds United. Fornals goes to gather possession for the Hammers again. Behind him he's got Paqueta. Square is Declan Rice if the Brazilian needs him. Instead he spins away from Arison's challenges. Paqueta slides and slips over, and Leeds will try and drive towards the halfway line, and then Robin Koch is giving it away. And a ironic few cheers from the West Ham United fans as that goes straight out of play for a throw-in.
This is the danger. You know, in some respects of football, you recruit for a certain style, for a certain manager, and you don't get the results. You know, and then you're forced into making a change. That change didn't work. We've seen it at Southampton this year as well.
Yeah,
made the initial change, it didn't work. Leeds made the initial change, it didn't work. They actually went backwards, in my opinion, and they've not recovered from that. And this is too little, too late for Sam Allardyce to have an impact, I think, with the squad that Leeds have put together.
Yeah,
it's certainly not. You know, in terms of the recruitment and the makeup of the side, in a position to do what Sam Allardyce normally does when he comes in firefighting late on in the season.
No. And there's again a real clash in midfield, and this time it's Angelo Bonner who's gone down. Referee is reaching into his pocket. He's going to show Crescencio Somerville a yellow card. And on come the physio staff for West Ham United.
Yeah, and it wasn't malicious. It was just holding the ground. It was just an awkward fall. But just having a little look at the West Ham goal, I mean, it's a wonderful reverse pass from Ings to find Bowen. He gets his head up early. I just wonder if Robles could do better. He's made a couple of really good saves, and he does get off his line quick, and he does get out to Bowen, but I'm not sure he makes himself big enough. It just goes under his left hand and into the far corner. But the move itself from West Ham was excellent in terms of the ball from Paqueta into Ings, with a lovely tidy touch on the turn, which allowed him then to find Bowen, who'd made a lovely run off the shoulder. Yeah, and so it's one of those where you have to applaud that. Yeah, you know, Leeds were caught cold and static, but in truth, Leeds haven't been good enough as an attacking side today. No. You know, I know you've pointed out, Phil, the frailties defensively this year, but they've not been good enough as an attacking side. The brightest period they've had was those early stages in the first 15 minutes when Bamford was causing the two West Ham.
Well, him going off and it probably affects the way that Sam Allardyce wants to play as well, because he does offer. You know, they haven't got another option, have they? No, they haven't got anyone else who can offer.
You know, they've spent a lot of money this year, you know, on recruitment, and they've made it one way. That, you know, if Bamford's out this team, that forward line is not physical enough. It's bright, it's lively, but it's too easy to defend against physically, in my opinion. It's like I said, West Ham.
They're going to make another change as well in a moment, Leeds. But here comes Pablo Fornals for West Ham down their left-hand side, cushions it back in the 6-yard box, falling over, just scooped away this time by Woba, met by Paqueta. Declan Rice is 35 yards out, sweeps it to the left-hand side, and the Brazilian again, who exchanges 3 passes with Emerson. Neat little triangle on the left-hand flank. Emerson manages to trick his way infield, gets clattered into. That's a dreadful tackle by
frustrated tackle, isn't
Rodrigo. Yeah, he's just come back
but he's watching his teammates just watch West Ham make 5 or 6 passes in a short, in a small area, in a little triangle, and I think that's just born out of frustration that no one's actually getting tight enough to make a challenge. So he's run 20 yards back from that centre forward position that he was holding and made a rather agricultural effort. Quite rightly reacted to by the West Ham
He walks
players.
away from that towards the halfway line as well, and he's faced like thunder, the 30-year-old. Angelo Bonner still suffering, I think, after that knock he picked up from Crescencio as well.
Yeah, he fell very awkwardly.
He did. And the referee uses his spray as this free kick will be taken by Emerson. You get a sense, and the Leeds United fans maybe starting to get a sense that they're not going to get anything out of this game, and if anyone else is going to score, it's going to be West Ham United again, as here comes the right hand up from Emerson, dinks it into the 6-yard box. It's headed straight up in the air this time by Danny Ings and bowled out wide towards the left-hand side on Weston McKennie, who loses possession.
That's brilliant from Paqueta. That's a 30-yard run from central midfield out to the right to make the challenge. You know, we've said how important he's been as he's been pushed into an advanced position. He did make the pass to Ings that created that goal, but that side of his game, it's great to see.
First change here, and it's going to be a West Ham one, and Manuel Lanzini is coming on to replace Jared Bowen, and we're going to see a double change, a final roll of the dice for Leeds. It is going to be Mark Rocker and Sam Greenwood who come on. So final 2 changes that Sam Allardyce is going to make for his side to try and claw something back from this game. The player going off first is Marcel Strijk. So he will just make way now. And the second change, Mark Rocker is going to come on for Weston McKennie.
Well, must be a little change of formation, you would have thought.
Yeah. Well, Sam Greenwood has raced on, as has Rocker. Lanzini, Bowen got a great standing ovation from the West Ham United fans as he came off, scored another goal. Lanzini, his 8th appearance off the bench, the Argentinian. Difficult season for him and difficult to get in this team. Leeds trailing West Ham by 2-1. These have just got to go for it, haven't they, really? And over the top they go, and they're in it behind, and his inside the penalty area, smothered shot, which is then guided goalwards. No, it's not. So Crescencio was the first opportunity, which was blocked by West Ham United. The second fell to another substitute in the shape of Brendan Aronson. He scuffed his shot up in the air, and it's easily gathered in the end by Lucas Fabianski. But well, that was one of Leeds' best opportunities really in this second half to try and, what they need to do now, restore parity. They've got 5.5 minutes to go. It's steered infield for Souček, round the corner for Ings to chase. Souček's gone back down injured. Rodrigo loses out in the air to Kehrer. What is Leeds' formation at this stage?
It's a back 3, but that was a wonderful chance. You know, it's Somerville running through, and he should have done better with the opportunity. It's a good block in the end, but he just lost control and left the ball behind at the crucial manner when he should have got his shot away. And by the time he recovered and the ball got into a position where he could shoot, it allowed the West Ham defender to make the block. I think it was Kehrer that made the block in the end. But that was a big moment, their best moment by some distance in this second half.
Ayling just gives Somerville an absolute earful because he was just too languid on this touchline when the ball was being worked forward by Leeds on their right, and that's going to be another West Ham United throw. David Moyes comes to field the ball and bounce it down the touchline so his left back can take it. Emerson sort of rolled into the drinks containers down there for West Ham United. Emerson with the throw. Ings just smashes it straight up into the sky. Fornals will chase after it. Woba has to head it clear towards the flaxen haired Christensen, who guides it to Ayling on the right hand side, and then Ayling launches it long. Underneath this is Emerson into midfield. Koch trying to take it away from Declan Rice. Good luck with that, as now it's going to be Lanzini sliding it up the left-hand flank to Danny Ings. Players streaming forward. Paqueta maybe inside that penalty area. Chested away, though, and run clear by Max Rocker. West Ham United have won possession back. Leeds are starting to look shapeless though, Steve. Really, it's just panic stations, isn't it? Just get players out there who can maybe do something, try and have some sort of formation. They will now, breaking in off the left-hand side. It's bounced away from another substitute, Nonto, and gathered by Fabianski.
Yeah, there's a resemblance of a shape, but it goes pretty quickly once they get into the motions of trying to score a goal or defend. But, you know, what else can they do?
Here's Rodrigo, who scored in the first half, and he's won a corner off Angelo Ogbonna.
They have looked more threatening, actually, since they've made the formation change and brought those 2 substitutions on. There is a little bit more energy to the team. They have threatened in behind the West Ham back line since those changes.
They'd be 2 points off Everton with a worse goal difference. Here comes the corner kick. Fabianski is able to pat it away out of his own penalty area. Met by Nonto, left-footed, scuffs his effort, works its way into his path again. West Ham United have far too many players back here. And then it will be slipped up the touchline, will it? Just about by Lanzini. Pablo Fornals had shown over the top, actually, a long, hopeful sort of ball with a bit of angle out wide to the right-hand flank, and Fornals may have been in on that. And another foul, and another yellow card, and Robin Koch this time is going to be shown that card by the referee. Marches away. Another injury to a West Ham United player, Steve.
Yeah, I understand. You know, it's a head in. I mean, it's no more than a slap, is it? It's
not a slap across the top of the head.
Yeah, it's no more than that. But what I would say is, where that ball fell, and it fell to Souček, and he had 25 yards of space to run into with 3 West Ham players in advanced positions. I think the referee could have allowed that to go just to see the outcome and gone back to that incident, because there was a very good opportunity for a counter-attack for West Ham there.
Chelsea have beaten Arsenal in the WSL today by 2-0. As it stands, they have the opportunity to win the league title again this evening if Manchester United don't beat Manchester City. It will happen. They play at Reading next week. Free kick to Leeds United, time ticking away. 90 seconds of normal time to go, plus added time. And Johnson waits on the sidelines for West Ham United, who are holding on to a 2-1 victory here against Leeds United. And maybe it could be more, because Paqueta now has stayed forward. He's up against Christensen, dives infield, slides it towards Danny Ings. First touch, second touch. And then it's scrambled away from him by Robin Koch, and it bounces through to the goalkeeper, Robles, who makes the save.
Yeah, how good was that pass from Paqueta? I mean, it was brilliant. He just dummied to go outside, cut inside, but the pass was inch perfect to Ings, and Ings will be furious with himself that he hasn't done better with that opportunity.
Southampton have got a goal back against Brighton, 2-1 on the south coast. Not really a derby, as here comes the cross again, whipped in from the right-hand side from Nonto, blocked behind. Wow, that's a big bumblebee. By Thomas Souček. And it's a corner kick on this right-hand flank, which will be taken by another one of the substitutes, Sam Greenwood. Steve steps backwards, puffs out his cheeks, puts both hands up in the air. Greenwood with the corner kick, works its way through. It's Somerville with the shot, blocked away by Soufal, and Fornals is there again, trying to carry it clear, ever willing, ever running. Fornals dinks it forward again, and all the way back. And Somerville is there to cushion it into West Ham United territory. Running out of time. Rocker with it. We've got how many minutes? 7 minutes of added time. Wowza. It might be torturous for West Ham United fans. It'll be torture for the Leeds fans who battling for the ball on the far touchline. Have it with Greenwood. He's hauled down. They thought that was a free kick.
Oh, I thought that was a free kick.
Yeah. Sam Allardyce thought it was a free kick. He's berating the fourth official on the sideline, Sam Allardyce. He is unhappy. He thought that Greenwood was hauled to the ground.
I don't understand how the referee hasn't given a free kick there. It was the most blatant foul we'll see today.
Soufal had his hand around his neck.
Yeah, it's a weird one, why he hasn't given that.
Ayling tries to win a header. Will be kept in on this near touchline by Lanzini. No, came off Emerson. Throw into Leeds United. West Ham are thinking of making a change on the sidelines. Double change being made, I think, for the Hammers. It'll be Ayling with this throw in meantime. Back up the touchline it goes into Nonto, dabs it out wide to Ayling. Back it comes to Nonto, who replaced Patrick Bamford in the first half. Ailing round the corner. Greenwood with the whipped-in cross, headed away by Ogbonna. Corner kick to Leeds on this right.
Strange one. It went back to Nonto, who had no one around him, controlled it. 7 Leeds players in the box, and he went back to Ailing. It doesn't look any better than that in terms of where you are, the delivery that they're waiting for. Delayed.
Greenwood with the corner kick for Leeds, gives it plenty of air. Somerville's at the far side of that penalty area. Fornals is able to volley it away towards the halfway line. David Moyes marching around inside his coaching box. Robles with the clearance, looping forward. They've conceded 2 goals in each of Sam Allardyce's games that he's been in charge of Leeds United so far. West Ham United, Manchester City and Newcastle. Christensen heads it into the edge of the centre circle. It's been given away though. Here's Lanzini, he plops it forward. Fornals is in on goal. He's up against Wober, still with it. Fornals takes it away from him. He tries to clip it back towards Danny Ings. Wober is able to just get a block in, and it bobbles out of play for another West Ham United corner. And the Hammers are going to make a couple of changes, Lucy.
Yeah, Danny Ings, Pablo Fornals is going to be the first change. Ben Johnson is going to come on to replace him, and then it will be Danny Ings going off for the young 18-year-old striker Devin Mbama.
So Mbama, who was part of the FA Youth Cup winning team for West Ham United, hardly thought of, had a really good season at that level. We saw him briefly last week against Brentford, and Danny Ings comes to the sidelines, and as you say, Pablo Fornals has gone off the side of the pitch and is getting warm applause, the man who scored the goal in the Netherlands that sealed West Ham United's progress to the Europa Conference League final, Steve, against Fiorentina.
Yeah, and they'll like this substitution because it's
homegrown
through their academy, and they've had a very good year. They've won the league comfortably under Kevin Keane, and they've won the FA Youth Cup comfortably at the Emirates against Arsenal, so they've had a really good year.
Right, West Ham United still have the ball, edge of the penalty area. Great skills. Oh, it's a chance for that third goal, and indeed it's just ratcheted in. And Manuel Lanzini's had such a difficult season, gets that third goal into his path and just leaving it into an empty net, sealing the result and sending the Leeds United fans streaming for the exit. Hands on hips and the likes of Wober and Koch. But West Ham will finish off at home with this last domestic game of the season here at London Stadium with a 3-1 victory. Lanzini with the final strike. It's all over now, 3 points staying here at London Stadium.
Yeah, and there's a reason they've conceded so many goals. I know it's late on, I know they're stretched, I know they're going for an equaliser, but there's still no excuse for allowing somebody to dance through your back line and then toe poker set up from no more than 5 yards out. So 3-1 it is. In truth, they've done it in second gear for me, West Ham, at times.
Oh, hang on.
Okay, interesting.
Well, they're checking for a possible offside.
I don't know how. How and when?
Well, Paqueta created, didn't he? And then I'm not sure what they're checking for.
But look, I mean, look at that. It's just too easy. It's just way too easy in terms of where they've allowed to get to from a throw-in, to beat them in their own penalty area and then cut back to a player.
Oh my word, this is what they're looking at. Is Paqueta's heel. This is going to get chalked off, Steve, because literally his studs.
So I had a rather heated discussion with a fellow presenter stroke pundit who's a good friend of mine about this exact incident, these exact incidents, and he basically
he's offside.
Says,
he's offside, Steve,
right? So he basically says the law is the law,
yeah.
and I'm saying, but if the referee doesn't spot this in open play, because back in our day, right, this wouldn't have got given. Nobody would have spotted that. Nobody would have seen it. Right, and this will get chalked off for offside by what?
Well, will it? I don't know.
It's going to be a stud.
No, it's going to be a goal.
That's what I'm saying.
So it does count.
Yeah, but that picture looked like it was offside by a stud.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where I think the rules are.
I thought that looked as if he was offside. There was a check at Brighton as well just a second or so ago, Lucy.
Yeah, Theo Walcott thought he'd brought them back level 2-2 in the space of 4 minutes, 2 goals, but no, it's been offside. So as with here, drama there later on.
Yeah, well, the Leeds fans are streaming away. The Nuns are making for the exit.
Yes,
so I think that's it. All the hope is gone, isn't it? Really, if the Nuns are leaving.
Steve? Yeah, I mean there is hope. there is hope in terms of...
Well, they've got to hope Bournemouth beat Everton, though. They've got to hope that Bournemouth beat Everton at Goodison Park.
At Goodison, that's slightly different, but they've got hope because they've got Spurs to come, haven't
they? Yeah, but they've still got to hope that Everton drop points.
No, that was
here are Leeds inside the West Ham United penalty, sprayed away, though, towards the halfway line, and Mubama has it. Can he create? No, he can't. He runs straight into Christensen. He overran it, and Leeds United have it on the halfway line with Brendan Aronson. Aronson out wide to Nonto, poking it round the corner to Brendan Aronson again. But they're trailing by 3-0, and a lot of the fans have left as Nonto whips across far post beyond everyone. That's going to bounce out of play, maybe for a throw-in from Nonto's whipped ball across the face of goal. And it will be Soufal who will jog over there to take it, Steve.
Yeah, look, I actually don't think they'll get a result against Spurs, despite what Spurs are going through at the moment. They've got a lot to do, you know, in that game to unpick Tottenham, but it's going to be a tale of which defence holds up, because Spurs are notoriously leaky as well.
Well, they've conceded over 60 goals.
The most of anybody in the top 10 by over 10. You know, it's no one else is over 50.
Mubama again, and West Ham United have got a player on side. It's Paqueta who drives forward. Declan Rice with his ears pinned back. Here's Declan Rice and Paqueta. He should have gone for goal. Declan Rice still inside the penalty area. They've defended it. Drops towards Lanzini. He drives towards the byline. Still with it is Manuel Lanzini. Curls it far post. Paqueta scuffs a shot. Palmed away from Mubama. Oh dear. Leeds United have cleared their lines. How many chances did West Ham want to score a fourth goal?
They did it earlier when Rice passed when he should have shot, and they've done the same there.
Here comes Somerville. He's pushed over and wins a free kick.
But how do you leave yourself? And I know they're chasing the game, but even at 3-1, this game's gone, right?
Yeah.
We're just a minute or two from the end, it's gone, and you leave yourself 1v2 at the back with a player high on the right-hand side who's not even being marked. Right, and I've looked, just as that ball got played through, I looked down at the technical area, and all the staff just turned.
Yeah.
Just turned away from it. Because that isn't, you know, that should be an organisational thing on the pitch by the players themselves taking control of the situation. And that could have turned nasty. That could have been 4. If Declan Rice pumped his one, you know, didn't pass that one, that's 5. It's damaging.
Yeah, well, it is damaging to their goal difference now, because that's the only thing that could save them. But it's whipped towards the far post. Ayling's not there. Chested down by Somerville, who lifts a shot over the top of the bar, and Peter Banks says, that's your lot. It could well be your lot for Leeds United in the Premier League. They have to beat Tottenham next week and hope that Everton drop points at home to Bournemouth, and a draw may not be enough in that game for Leeds. They're going to have to, you know, overturn the goal difference scenario, which isn't in their favour. West Ham United finish at home domestically with a 3-1 win, going behind to Rodrigo in the first half, but that was cancelled out before the break, and in the second half Leeds offered nothing, and we saw West Ham just stretch their lead. Late on they could have made it 4-5, as you said, but Lanzini coming off the bench to score for the Hammers, and Jared Bowen in the second half as well, after Declan Rice had restored parity before the break. The Leeds fans make for the exit. The West Ham United fans will celebrate with a lap of honour for the fact they've got to a European final, and also I've got to that 40-point mark, Steve Brown. It's finished here. West Ham United 3, Leeds United 1.
BBC Radio London,
the home of London football.